are live, you can go. You can start.
Okay, a very warm welcome and good afternoon to all of you who have joined us for this edition of Techneev at the rate of 75. As those of you who have been following this program would know that Techneev at the rate of 75 is jointly organized by the Ministry of Science and Technology and the Ministry of Earth Science. The objective of the Techneev program, this is especially being organized under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav series of events that are happening all over the country. So the Ministry of Science and Technology and the Ministry of Earth Sciences and all the departments under these two ministries have come together to organize Techneev at the rate of 75, wherein we are looking at those technologies that have made an impact in the community, especially in the rural and peri-urban areas. So this is a unique program wherein we have the three groups involved with the technology: the scientists who have developed the technology, the partners who have collaborated with the scientists. So it could be an industrial partner, or it could be a partner who has helped in taking this technology to the masses. And lastly, of course, we have the very important end user group, the group that has benefited by using these technologies. So we have 75 hours of programming spread over 25 days and each day of 3 hours. So this is our 8th edition of the program. And the uniqueness of this program is also that this is a CSIR special program, wherein we have 3 laboratories of CSIR participating in today's edition of Techneev at the rate of 75. We have the CSIR National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, Nagpur. We have the CSIR Indian Institute of Petroleum, Dehradun, and we have the CSIR National Institute of Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram, joining us today to showcase, to discuss 3 technologies that is focused on the theme of energy. Now, energy is one of the very important themes of CSIR, and CSIR. Many of the laboratories of CSIR, including the 3 here today, are working on different energy technologies. But the 3 technologies that we have chosen today are the ones that have made an impact among the community, especially in the rural and peri-urban areas. So I also have on the screen, as you would see now, we have the 2 scientists, Dr. Nitin from NIRI and Dr. Roshan also from NIRI, who has joined us. And we also have Dr. Anuradha from the Department of Science and Technology. So it will be Dr. Anuradha and me who will be steering this program for today. So we have 3 hours. In the first hour, right away, we will be discussing the technology of CSIR NIRI, which is an improved mud cook stove called Pavak, or Pavak for disadvantaged communities in rural India. We will talk more about this, and thereafter we will have Dr. Anuradha talking about the technology from CSIR IIT Dehradun, which is on a low energy or energy efficient Jaggery making plant. And finally, we will be looking at the 3rd technology from the CSIR National Institute of Interdisciplinary Science and Technology on compact biogas plants. So that's the program for the day. So those of you who are connected with us on YouTube and Facebook, please post your questions. If you wish to interact, please post your questions there, and then on your behalf, I will take it up with the concerned invitees on the program today. Okay, so with that, we will jump right into the first topic, which is on improved mud cook stove. So we have with us, as I said, from NIRI, we have Dr. Nitin, who is the chief scientist and head of the energy and resource management division, and we also have his colleague, Dr. Roshan Wathor, and we have Ms. Tinsy George, who is the deputy general manager CSR at Glenmark Pharmaceuticals Limited, who has been collaborating with NIRI on this technology. So we will hear from her as well. Yeah, welcome, Ms. Tinsy. And of course, we have the interaction with the end users or beneficiaries. We have the founder and co-founder of the Spandan Samaj Seva Samiti from Khandwa, Madhya Pradesh. We have Mr. Prakash and Mrs. Seema Prakash. So right there, here they are on the screen now. Very nice seeing you all on the screen. Yes. So thank you for being connected with us. So I will start straight away by asking Dr. Nitin here. So what does power mean in the title? You know, improved mud cook stove. When you talk about cook stove, we have this fair. Most of us here have this fair understanding of the mud cook stove. I think most of us would have seen it. You know, particularly in villages where very crudely made stove, and you put some firewood or other kinds of biomass into it, leaves and dry leaves and all that, and then burn it. It produces a lot of smoke along with the heat. That helps with cooking. Oh, I'm so sorry about this noise in the background. This is unexpected. I don't know whether it is interrupting. This is totally unexpected. Am I audible? I can't hear myself. Okay. So, yeah, let's hear from Dr. Nitin how about this cook stove, what it means very briefly, as I try to get this noise turned off. I'll be away for a moment. Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon and namaskar to all. I'm Nitin Latchetwa. And as rightly introduced, this traditional mud cook stove we have been using in India and elsewhere since ages, actually. So, and without realizing actually that these kind of cook stoves are very inefficient. They produce a lot of emissions, including we can see the smoke, but there are other emissions as well. Also, it requires a lot of wood, so deforestation-related issues are also there. Now, all of us know that the government of India had initiated a very, very impressive program called Ujjwala, under which they're supplying the LPG connections. Okay, but India is a big country and there are many challenges. So it is going to take some time before we can say that the entire country, or say more than 95 or 97% of the people, are covered under this. So obviously the challenges are with the rural people, in particular those who are at the bottom of economic pyramid, what we call it, those poor people. So there are many issues with them. There is a significant number of people who are still continuing with those inefficient mud cook stove. Okay, and of course they need a lot of wood, so which is also, these are the very common tales from rural India. So under the CSIR 800 program, and now it is renamed as Harit program, which we truly appreciate the CSIR spirit. And initially, if you are aware that CSIR 800, that 800 stands for 800 million people whom we consider they are underprivileged and we need to do something as a scientist. Okay, and then it was renamed as the Harit. So we have done a lot of work under this program at NIRI, and one of the initiatives with this. Second, I would like to say that these kind of program, after the Ujjwala was introduced, the cook stove program need a lot of support because there is a sizable rural poor population who are still using it. And post-COVID, there has been further slippage of LPG for obvious reasons. And I truly, truly admire people like from Glenmark Foundation, who wants to come forward, wants to go to the field, ask the people which are the real problem where they need support from Glenmark. And our friend Ms. Tinsy will elaborate more that how they got into that. And when majority of the institutions actually closed their R&D for the cook stove, we started some R&D with the help of an association called CLEAN, which is MSME association, more than 200 members who practice, which are like DRE practitioner, decentralized renewable energy practitioner, and the ID Bombay. So we started, thanks to, of course, Niri director, a lab, which is a R&D and support lab for cook stove industry, and a small combustion lab, we call it. So the background is there is a problem of this cook stove related health burden and environmental burden, and in recent terms, the climate change burden as well, because obviously efficiency of cook stove is very, very poor. So they consume a lot of firewood, which leads to deforestation and enhances CO2. But the major concern is health. So Denmark Foundation has been working in its domain, and they have been very, very practical and pragmatic in this. And they approached us that there are cook stove, can we test it, or can we let us know whether these are efficient? But we did not find those cook stove very suitable for community. Of course, we need to keep in mind that India, we have different community, different cultures, and everybody needs a different kind of a food. After that, they asked us, can we make some cook stove? And we have been working in this domain for over 10 years. And there have been a lot of cook stove. Most of them are metallic cook stove. Majority of them works on the pellet, okay, which is a processed food fuel. But there are challenges. For example, the metal-based cook stoves are a bit costly. Their life is limited. Acceptability is a problem because you need to deal with the rural people, tribal people who may not like to change their habits, okay? So Glenmark actually throw a challenge that can we resolve these issues, wherein we need to worry on that. And the second problem was the processed fuel of pellet, which is still expensive. Okay, so we sometimes found the cost is as high as LPG. Okay, so that's why the adoption was a challenge when it comes to the cook stove. And there has been challenges to improve the mud cook stove because there are limitations. The kind of a fabrication or design modification you can do with the metal, it's not possible. So with the help of the community at Khandwa district, the Glenmark Foundation, the NGO they're dealing with, like Prakashji is there, they have identified this problem, and then we started working on it. So I would like to request Prakashji to first introduce that what kind of a problem they are facing in their village, okay? And then we can introduce what kind of a design we have done, and then I'll request Tinsiji to say something about it. So Prakashji, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. So we are sitting in a very remote village in Khandwa district of Madhya Pradesh. It's a tribal village, and here there is a very peculiar tribe called Crude, and we have been working with Glenmark for more than a decade now, addressing the issue of very widespread malnutrition here, and the causes and the consequences of malnutrition. And one of the things that we identified is the prevalence of acute respiratory infections among the infants and the mothers in their pregnancy age. So that was a big problem, and we found out it's because of the kind of cooking stoves that they have been using, the mud cooking stoves, the traditional one. And as Dr. Shah told me, that there is a problem of LPG. So people got connections, they got their first cylinder, but now it has become costly, number one. Number two, they are so far, it takes more than a month for the cylinder to reach their home. So they are back to their traditional way of cooking. And we are sitting in a forest village. There's a lot of wood there, so people prefer wood cooking. So we wanted to improve that stove. So it's a very long story. We tried with so many models and all. And now with Niri, we have come out with a model which is so effective, which is working well. I'll be showing you live now with one with me or after the discussion. So I think I'll show you that it will be better. So I'll just show you some live demos. So first we see the village. So one of our friends will show you. संतोष भाई ऑनलाइन हो जाइए. संतोष भाई जल्दी. You can see the streets of the village and थोड़ा उसको आगे बढ़ा दीजिएगा. This is the village. It's all surrounded by the forest and very remote village. And you can see the houses and some structures are there. But I will this just gives you a glimpse of the village. But I want to quickly shift on to the model of the cookie stove. So now I will show you the molds that were prepared, the design that came out with the needy. So we'll just have a glimpse of that now. ये जो है मिट्टी के जो चूल्हे बनाए हैं अग्नि की करके हमारे चूल्हे हैं मिट्टी से हमने तैयार किए हैं और इसमें जो है आसानी से खाने के लिए जो उन्होंने मोल्ड दिए गए थे मोल्ड की सहायता से जो बनाए हैं और ये जो मोल्ड से छोटा वाला बना रहे हैं छोटा वाला मोल्ड से जाती है और इसके अलावा ये बड़े के लिए ये बड़े बनाने के लिए जो है ये मोल्ड यूज किया है और इसमें बहुत आसानी के साथ हम लोगों ने बनाने में आसानी हुई है फिर माप की जरूरत नहीं है एक विशेष माप से तैयार करके हमें मिल रहा है तो उसके लिए तैयार किए हैं और उसमें कुछ चीज़ें लगी होते हैं पीछे जो है छोटे छोटे हमने इसमें के दिए हैं इसके जाली लगाई गई वाली पाइप से छोटे पाइप और हाथ में जो पीछे है जो है ये मोटे पाइप दिए गए और इसमें जो है भी दिए हैं ताकि हवा आसानी से जा सके और ये मिट्टी जलाने के लिए इससे लकड़ी रखी जाती है ताकि नीचे से हवा जा सके और अच्छे से चूल्हा जले तो ये जो जाली है लोहे की लगाई गई है ये चूल्हे में भी हमने जो है छोटे छोटे ये पाइप लगाए हैं क्योंकि हवा पास करने के लिए अच्छा है और आसानी से इसमें आ जाती है तो इस प्रकार से ये जो है चूल्हा तैयार किया है
So ये चूल्हा how common is it? Is it being used in several households in the village?
Yeah, in the very village we are sitting, there are 130 cooking stoves.
Okay.
And now we'll show you a live one so that you'll understand it. Just one more thing we'll show you the live one. Hai na?
Okay. So as the live visual is coming up, Dr. Nitin, why is it called Pavak? Does it have an expansion or is it a word in the title that you are given? PAVAK.
Pavak is a Sanskrit come Hindi name. Actually, what they have shown is something interesting. जैसे हिंदी में बड़े अच्छे से उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ था और जैसे मैंने पहले बताया था बैकग्राउंड में कि कुक्स्टो का एक बहुत सीरियस प्रॉब्लम है और उसमें बहुत सारे इश्यूज बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस है इट लुक्स लाइक अ वेरी स्मॉल डिवाइस लाइक इट्स अ वेरी लो कॉस्ट वेरी स्मॉल डिवाइस but that actually is very challenging because you need to play around very limited cost. Okay, the second thing is adoption. जो लोग 20 साल से 100 साल से मड स्टोव यूज कर रहे हैं वो इतने जल्दी स्विच ओवर नहीं करते हैं. एलपीजी में भी सेम प्रॉब्लम हुआ डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट दैट एलपीजी इज अ वेरी क्लीन फ्यूल. उस चैलेंज को फिर एक्सेप्ट किया हम लोगों ने कि कुछ ऐसे मोल्ड बनाया जाए जिस मोल्ड से हम मड कुक स्टोव बनाए. इसमें जो इनके डेनमार्क फाउंडेशन के सपोर्ट से जो आर्टिजन थे लोकल आर्टिजन थे उनका हमको सपोर्ट मिला क्योंकि द आइडिया इज वी नीड टू आल्सो क्रिएट अ बिजनेस मॉडल. Okay, this is not that something can be made in the factory and transported to the village and distributed. So day one से हम लोगों ने डेनमार्क फाउंडेशन के साथ में एनजीओ के साथ में काम करना शुरू किया और उनको एक डिजाइन दिया और उस डिजाइन को ऐसा बनाया कि वो मिनिमम रिसोर्सेज में गांव में बनाया जा सके और एट द सेम टाइम वो एफिशिएंसी दे पाया आपको. तो इसमें दो चीजें होती हैं, कुछ पैरामीटर्स होते हैं. मेरे कलीग एक्चुअली मेरे जो कलीग हैं अंकित गुप्ता किसी वजह से आज वो ज्वाइन नहीं कर पाए. ही इज वन ऑफ द लीड इन फैक्ट एंड इनोवेटर्स एंड रोशन. सो हम लोग का जो टीम है उसमें हुआ था. तो हम लोग जैसे बोलते हैं कि सॉलिड फ्यूल, तो सॉलिड फ्यूल क्या होता है कि जो हम लोग सॉलिड गैस और लिक्विड फ्यूल की बात करते हैं तो इसमें क्या होता है कि जो सॉलिड फ्यूल है ऑब्वियसली वो कंबशन के लिए सूटेबल नहीं होता है, वो फ्यूल बिल्कुल अच्छा नहीं होता है. तो जब हम उसको हीट करते हैं तो वो इनकम्प्लीट कंबशन जिसको बोलते हैं वैसा होता है और बहुत सारी जो गैसेस हैं वो निकलती हैं उसमें से. उस गैस को हम दोबारा कुछ सेकेंडरी एयर प्रोवाइड करके कंबस्ट कर सकते हैं. उससे दो फायदे होते हैं, आपकी एफिशिएंसी इंप्रूव होती है और मेनली एमिशंस कम होते हैं. तो एक इनोवेशन किया हम लोगों ने कि सेकेंडरी एयर के लिए कुछ छोटे छोटे पाइप उसमें इंसर्ट किए हुए हैं और डिजाइन ऐसा प्रिपेयर किया कि ये हमारी टीम है अभी जो खंडवा में थी करीब पिछले 1 महीने से और अभी वापस लौटे हैं वो लोग। तो वहां पे इस एनजीओ की मदद से, डेनमार्क फाउंडेशन की मदद से हमने लोकल आर्टिजन्स को वो ट्रेनिंग दी कि वो वहीं बना सके। ओके, केवल बेयर मिनिमम आपको कुछ लोहे के जो छोटे छोटे पाइप्स हैं वो लेके जाने हैं और वहां पे बनाने हैं। और अब ऐसा है कि इस गांव में लगभग पूरे गांव में हमने ये दे दिए हैं ये कुछ को, और वहां पे साइंटिफिक स्टडीज कर रहे हैं कि कितना बेनिफिट हुआ है, एमिशंस कितने कम हुए हैं, कुकिंग टाइम कितना कम हुआ है, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत एसोसिएटेड सीरियस इश्यूज होते हैं। ड्रेजरी का एक इशू होता है, लेडी को जाना पड़ता है जंगल, उसको रोज लकड़ियां लेनी पड़ती है। और एक सरप्राइजिंग फिगर आपको देता हूं कि कंबशन एफिशिएंसी ट्रेडिशनल कुकिंग की वो हार्डली 15% या 18% होती है। बीआईएस के नॉर्म्स बोलते हैं कि कम से कम 25% होना चाहिए। इस कुक स्टोव में हम लोगों ने आसानी से 26 से 27% होगा। तो आपको वुड भी कम लगेगा, इसको आसानी से बनाया भी जा सकता है गांव में, और इससे आपके एमिशंस बहुत कम होंगे। और जो मैंने आपको एक बहुत मेजर चैलेंज बताया था कि आपने कोई नई डिवाइस यदि गांव वाले को दी है तो उसकी एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी बहुत पुअर होती है। यदि आप उसको उसमें बना के देंगे कि नहीं हमारा भी मड कुक स्टोव है, वैसे ही दिखता है, वैसे ही काम करता है, तो उसके अडॉप्शन अच्छा होता है। तो प्रकाश जी ने अभी जो दिखाया हुआ है वो रियल लास्ट मंथ के मेरे जो स्टूडेंट हैं अभी वहां। प्रकाश जी आगे कुछ बताएंगे क्या आप पिंसी जिसे हम लोग बोले को बताएं कि वो कैसे इस बैकग्राउंड में उनका क्या कारण था कि ग्लेनमार्क फाउंडेशन को काफी इंटरेस्ट है इसमें।
हेलो कविता चालू कीजिए।
हाँ प्रकाश जी आप बताइए। हाँ
Give me a second. We are just showing you the live one from the home itself.
okay, okay, yeah.
It's there. You can see the stove. You can use now. You can also talk to them. बबीता बोलिए।
जी सर, ये हम लोग ये चूल्हों का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। हम लोग ने चूल्हे बनाए हैं तो इसमें मतलब धुआं कम रहता है और खाना जल्दी बनता है और 2 लकड़ी में खाना बन जाता है। जैसे एक पे हम ये बना रहे हैं रोटी और एक पे हमारी ये दाल छोड़ रही है जी खाना बना ये थोड़ा सा
आप ये कितने टाइम से यूज कर रहे हैं? ये
जी 1 महीना से
1 महीने से यूज कर रहे हैं। और जो पहले आपने जैसे बताया अभी ईंधन कम लगता है, उसके अलावा आपको क्या क्या फायदा दिख रहा है इसमें?
धुआं कम निकलता है।
धुआं कम निकलता है
और 2 लकड़ी में रोटी बना देता है।
हाँ हाँ।
और इससे ये भी फायदा है कि मतलब धुएं का मतलब धुआं जब आँख में जाता है तो उससे मतलब जो हमारा पुराना चूल्हा था उसमें ज्यादा धुआं लगता था, उस वजह से हमारे आंखों से ज्यादा आंसू गिरते थे, तो आंखों में भी मतलब काले टाइप आ जाते, तो उससे भी मतलब शरीर के अंदर धुआं जाता है, उससे भी नुकसान होता है। और इसमें मतलब कम धुआं निकलता है तो मतलब आंखों में आंसू भी नहीं आते हैं और खाना टाइम से बन जाता है, वो चूल्हों का इस्तेमाल हो जाता है सही तरीके से। और हम लोग उसको एक ही साथ में एक टाइम पे एक साथ में 2 दाल चावल या रोटी सब्जी जो भी है वो खाना बना सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल, जैसे हमें भी यहाँ से दिख रहा है 2 चूल्हे चल रहे हैं और अच्छी सी इसमें जो लकड़ी जल भी रही है उसके बावजूद भी धुआं ना के बराबर ही है। बिल्कुल ही जो सब्जी से जो या आप जो बना रहे हैं, जो भी खाना बना रहे हैं उसमें से जो भाप निकल रही है वही दिख रहा है, लेकिन धुआं तो बिल्कुल ना के बराबर ही है, बहुत कम ही धुआं दिख रही है। बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा। प्रकाश जी आप कुछ हाँ बताइए।
मैं एक ही बात कह रहा था कि आपको भाप भी दिखी तो आप ये भी देखिए कहीं उनकी दीवार काली नहीं हुई है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
तो अच्छा, ये बहुत अच्छी चीज है कि आपकी लोगों की एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी बढ़ रही है, क्योंकि डिजाइन जो है वो बहुत ज्यादा ट्रेडिशनल चूल्हों से अलग नहीं है। इट्स स्टिल मड, ओनली देयर इज लिटिल इम्प्रूवमेंट इन द डिजाइन। और जो इक्विपमेंट जो आपको दिखाए पाइप वगैरह यूज किए हैं उससे बहुत फायदा हुआ है और लोग इसको अप्रिशिएट कर रहे हैं। और जो रूरल जो हम मिस्त्री को तैयार अब कर रहे हैं कि उसको और बढ़ाया जाए, फ्रेम्स हमारे पास हैं, टेक्निक हमारे पास है और स्किल भी आ गई है, अब इसको धीरे धीरे जो है बढ़ाना है।
तो इसको जो अडॉप्ट करने के लिए जो इनएफिशिएंट कुक स्टोव्स था, वो उसको छोड़ के ये इसको अडॉप्ट करने में वो ट्रांजिशन था, वो कैसे हुआ, कितना इजी था या डिफिकल्ट था, हाउ डिड दैट एक्चुअली हैपन?
Yeah, it wasn't
आपने
easy.
बताया कि 130 कुक स्टोव्स या 130 हाउस होल्ड इसको अभी यूज कर रहे हैं, सो हाउ वाज द ट्रांजिशन? वाज इट इजी टू win them off that and get them to use this? तो वो ट्रांजिशन कैसा था? What was the experience?
Initially it wasn't easy because they were saying कि हमारे पास तो ऑलरेडी चूल्हा है, आप हमको क्यों नए चूल्हे की बात कर रहे हैं. But we got them engaged in the manufacturing or setting up of this chula. So right from collection of soil to getting stuff, then putting it in the frames and installing it, and now they are getting used to it. So in our villages, it has gone like that. Initially there were some difficulties, but now I think we have overcome at least in this. ये बहुत बड़ा बर्तन जो था, पहली लकड़ी के लिए जंगल जाना पड़ता है, तो इसको करने से क्योंकि उनके लिए पहले से चूल्हे तो उसमें लकड़ियाँ बहुत लगती, ज्यादा बड़ा बर्तन रखना पड़ता था और उसमें लकड़ियाँ लगती थी ज़्यादा, तो इसका ज़्यादा लोगों ने इसको स्वीकारा, एक्सेप्ट किया कि इसमें कम लकड़ी में तो औरतों के ऊपर एक बड़ा बर्डन था कि एक ढेर रोज की लकड़ी लगेगी, वो कम हुआ, और इसलिए इसको जल्दी से लोगों ने इसको अपना भी लिया कि एक साथ 2 खाने, दाल चावल भी बन जाता है, दाल रोटी भी बन जाती है, तो एक साथ 2 खाने बन जाते हैं, इसलिए भी इसको एक्सेप्ट किया. दूसरी ये कि सबसे अच्छी बात है जो हम लोग न्यूट्रिशन के काम करते हैं, तो प्रेग्नेंट मदर को जो धुआं पेट में जाता है बच्चे के लिए, ये बहुत नुकसान देता है, तो वो काफी बचत है. तो अभी ये है कि हमारे गाँव में इस तरह का कुपोषण अभी कम ही दिख रहा है जिस तरह से पहले. कुछ लोग को बहुत ही फर्क पड़ा है हमारे यहाँ कि महिलाओं के लिए आंखों की परेशानी या पेट में जो बच्चे के लिए परेशानी वो कम हुई है, इसलिए इसको ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग मांग सकते हैं.
ओके, तो अभी आपको आपने वो एक्सप्लेन भी किया और एक विलेज का एक हमें थोड़ा सा एक ग्लिम्स भी दिखाई दिया, और एक हाउस होल्ड जहां पर बना रहे थे वो भी हमें देखने को मिला. हम फिर से अभी आपके पास आएंगे, बट एट दिस पॉइंट आई थिंक वी विल आल्सो गेट मिस टिंसी जॉर्ज हियर. Madam, we would like to hear from you. How did Glenmark, get involved in this, and what has been your, if I can sense, you're kind of an interface between NIRI and the community, right? So, it will be nice to hear your, experience in this whole thing. Yeah.
Sure. So thank you and good afternoon, everybody. So firstly, I would like to thank CSIR for actually making our project a part of this forum. It just shows that we are doing the right thing and it's moving on the right track. So just a quick brief on Glenmark Foundation and the work that we are doing, hence leading to this. So we believe that healthy children are a foundation of a healthier world. So most of our projects that we basically do is to actually look at this and sort of get this goal out. So we've come up with a 360-degree approach where we look at how we can reduce infant and child mortality, and currently we're running about 9 large-scale projects across 5 states in India. Spandan being our NGO partner for MP, like Prakashji mentioned, we have like a 10-year-old a relationship with Spandan, and while we did a lot of projects over the years, right from community-based malnutrition management to reviving millets to basically behavior change communication, so we've done a lot to reduce the malnutrition of the Kurku tribes there. But while we were doing all this, we always knew that we need to do a project which actually is innovative, at the same time which we can actually maximize the impact with the communities, and at the same time it has to be innovative, it had to be adapted, it had to be low cost, so it's actually a lot of things to fit. And while Prakashji mentioned that we were getting to see that the women are falling sick, and what is the reason. So as we started studying that, we realized, yes, indoor air pollution is a huge problem and we should do something about it. While there has been a lot of while there has been a lot of things being done in this space of indoor air pollution, we realized that what is it that we can do differently so to make this a successful project. So we did a few chulas, and that's when we actually reached out to NIRI to test and do like a field assessment for them. And I think it was like the best thing that we did, because it was a partnership that we actually taken further, and right now we're working together in terms of reducing that kind of an impact on children. So that's when NIRI said that they can help us in building like a chula, and so make like a couple of prototypes, test it first, and then also do the field testing. That's when we actually had our artisans from our villages, along with Prakashji, who actually went, made the prototypes, and then we started testing them in the field. So currently, we are getting like pretty decent results, like you have seen. And the whole intent is that while we want this to be adapted to the maximum villages that we operate in and across, what do we do next? So once we get the perception study out, we are also looking at how we can make this project much more large scale than what it is. Like Dr. Nitin mentioned in the beginning, people are still using these chulas, so our whole idea is then just try to promote using the improved mud stove. While we were in the field, we also realized that adaptation, and for them, because these chulas actually are not something that are going to be lasting forever, you have to keep remaking them. How do they adapt to that? So that's when we decided we should do something like train the trainers. You create these kind of trainers within the villages who actually take it on them to further put it to the other villagers, and showcase these model villages, take the help of the panchayat, get them to understand the kind of burden that indoor air pollution has on mother and child and the rest of the family, and get them to create these models, and then we sort of replicate it across different villages, create these smokeless villages is the idea, like how you have open defecation free villages, have these smokeless free villages, so that that becomes their whole idea, and that becomes their USP, so that's what we are looking at, and that sort of should replicate, and we should have more and more villages using this across India.
That's a very smokeless villages, which, as you rightly pointed out, which is a kind of is a health hazard, especially as you pointed out for children. And NIRI, and of course on behalf of CSIR, we are grateful to the Glenmark Foundation for partnering in taking this technology to the villages. Now, you did mention about the life of the chula. So and you also talked about training the trainers. So if I have understood, the artisans who make this, I believe, are largely also the users of the chula. You can correct me on my understanding. So how long the life, we can talk about the life of the chula, and also we can talk about how much of training is required by them, and how often they are required to make this. Maybe we can start off with Dr. Nitin and then go around.
You're fine. Just a couple of clarifications. Right now, what we are doing is a kind of a user perception study, which is very, very important. If you look at the stakeholders as far as these kind of projects are concerned, okay, then very important stakeholders are, first of all, our users, okay, because their perception has to be taken care. Only then the adoption can be guaranteed, in fact. And you will be surprised that sometimes those users who are from the villages, they give us such a good inputs, okay, and they throw challenge that no, this is not acceptable. ये आप गलत कर रहे हैं, इसको ऐसा कीजिए. and we need to adopt them. So they are there. Then comes like Spandan and the Prakashian. They are our connect between a lab to like land or the village. So we get a lot of feedback from them because they are able to understand and translate what exactly is required. Third important stakeholder, as you already identified, is a industry sponsorship or CSR sponsorship, because they're very clear they want to benefit these kind of a rural or poor population. So right now we are doing this user perception study. As far as improved cook stoves are concerned, the metallic cook stove life is hardly 2 years to 4 years. Okay, and they also cost 2,000 or even more than 2,000, sometimes 5,000 rupees. But if you remember that the traditional mud cook stove, which has been there since ages, they also had one advantage. कि हमारे घर में जो लेडी रहती थी उसको थोड़ा बहुत रिपेयर कर लेती थी. Okay, so the whole idea is to create design, okay, which may be little complex to make. So we will train some artisans. They have identified 5 to 6 artisans. Those 5 to 6 artisans will take care of say 100, 150 household. They will also train, but the cook stove should be such that it should last several years, and there will be some damages which a household should be able to rectify by using simple mud and all these things. So that's why TNCG is calling the training of trainers, which we would like to do. Okay, so this is the stage right now which we want to doubly sure. So we are going to extend a couple of months of feedback on this, and then we want to expand it, creating a model where in it. Now, Roshan, I would like to ask Roshan. I mean, there are two key persons, I would say. One is Ankit Gupta. I'm really missing him today.
Yeah.
Because he is one who has been working with us since the beginning, provides a lot of excellent engineering inputs. And Roshan, you will hear from Roshan that he has done his masters in US, but his project was to work in Africa on cook stove. So he has got an excellent experience. Another advantage is he is also an expert in like evaluating the cook stove. It's not easy. It's quite challenging. Most of the people, they evaluate the cook stove, these devices in the lab. Okay, which is of course important, but going to the field with your setup and working on that atmosphere, okay, in which we call it a real world condition, is a pretty complex. It looks simple actually. So Roshan, can you just brief us how we are going to, how are we testing and what is your feeling, and how can you compare this work with your experience in say Africa, okay, and can we bring to new dimensions of say climate change into that?
Yes, sure, sir. So I'll just give a brief background about the cook stove and the cook stove testing protocols. So usually, as sir had mentioned, we test the cook stove in the lab, and that is usually what happens. But one very important factor is that a cook stove does not behave similar in the lab that it does in the field. So the usual observation is that in the field, since there is so much variation in the field, you see usually higher emissions in the field. So the benefits which you would expect, both in terms of health benefits and climate benefits, they are sort of reduced when you go to the field. So eventually, what is important is you need to know how the stove performs in the field, and that is where this my role comes in. So we have been currently the team has been in the field. And in Khandwa, I think they'll be coming back today. So they have been in the field for the past 2-3 weeks, and they have been doing extensive testing of cook stove emissions using the standard ISO protocol. And this will actually tell us, what is the actual benefits which we expect from these stoves, in addition to the user feedback as well. So yeah, this is where why it matters basically. And to enable this, Dr. Ankit, as you have said, he has been a very he has done pioneering work in the development of these cook stove, basically the design and development. So the way this cook stove was arrived is that we systematically arrived at this model because now cook stove is essentially a small combustion device, and if you tweak any parameters of the design, say if you increase the air inlet or you change the pot gap, or if you have a longer stove. So changing some of these parameters changes the performance of these cook stoves. And what we have done here is we have systematically arrived at an optimized model of this cook stove based on both experimental observations as well as we have done computational calculations as well, which includes CFD, computational fluid dynamics, as well as various other optimization techniques. And this is where finally arrived at the two best performing models. And so now, since we had determined the lab the lab efficiency, the next step is to see, do the users actually like it, and what further minor improvements can we make on these designs, so that it is both affordable, and the main thing is the people should like it and they should be willing to adopt these food stores.
Okay, thanks Roshan. So प्रकाश जी, आप कुछ बताएंगे कि जो ट्रेनर्स हैं, जो आर्टिजन्स हैं, क्योंकि वो जब लैब में आए थे तो हम लोग काफी इम्प्रेस थे उनसे, और उनका एक हमको थोड़ा एडवांटेज भी मिला है कि जो दूसरे हम लोग कुछ मॉडल्स पे काम कर रहे थे, कुक स्टोव के, या हमसे जब बात करते थे, so their like experience and their knowledge is also quite rich, क्योंकि वो जो क्ले बेस्ड कुक स्टोव है, मड कुक स्टोव है, उसके बारे में काफी अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी, और वो हमसे काफी डिस्कशंस करते थे, काफी डिबेट भी करते थे कि आप इसमें ये ऐड कीजिएगा। तो आप उसके बारे में कुछ बताएंगे कि आर्टिजन्स को कैसे आपने ट्रेन किया और कैसे आइडेंटिफाई किया, बिकॉज़ आई फाउंड देम क्वाइट स्किल्ड।
Literally, and I think they have trained 10 more. They have trained 10 more trainers, and they have been excellent in working right on the field, working with the community, and engaging community in all these things. So, simple example I say, this particular village that we are doing, we had a problem of mud. Yeah, it's a forest village, and we can't take anything from the forest. It was a tough challenge. But they got together the people, they collected some money, they went to the next village, got the soil, mud, and got it, and made the ticket. So, these kind of challenges that we have, and our trainers are, right from the community, so they relate well to the community. And coming back to your earlier question of, repair and life of the Chile. So, this varies for, a particular, culture. Every, festival comes, nobody is coming. They clean up the house, they will, mud plaster the home, but they will also do mud plastering once again of the Chile. They will come repairs and everything. And all the 180 uses that I am seeing, they all know how to repair it. You don't have to call anybody now to do, unless it's broken or something like that. But they can repair it, they can maintain it. So let's say, customer is already there. So that helps us in, promoting it.
Okay. But somewhere along the way, Dr. Nitin had also mentioned that you get a lot of inputs and feedback from the users, so which forms the basis for improvement of the cook stove, because of course they do their own studies in the laboratory, but these inputs that come from the end users are valuable in improving. It might be the design or other parameters. So between you and Dr. Nitin, can you tell us maybe specific one or two improvements that the lab the scientists were totally unaware of, and where maybe there might be a number of them, but maybe you can specifically highlight a couple of them which helped in some kind of a major intervention in the design or
modification. आपको वीडियो आपने देखा था, तो उस वीडियो में आपने देखा होगा 2 चूल्हे रखे थे, और एक जो चूल्हा था उसमें वो लेडी रोटी को ऐसे सेंक रही थी। ओके, तो जब हम लोग वहां गए तो उन्होंने बोला कि बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, ये भी अच्छा है, लेकिन हमको कुछ अंगारे बाहर रहेंगे और उसमें हम रोटियां सेकेंगे। तो वहां हम लोगों ने फिर डिस्कशंस किया हमारी टीम ने कि क्या हम ऐसा एक एक्सटेंशन दे दें आपको, ताकि वहां पे अंगारे जो है उसके बाहर रहें और वो आपको यूज कर सकें करके। साइंटिफिकली इट इज वेरी हार्ड टू जस्टिफाई दैट, क्योंकि हमें मालूम है कि वो शायद कंबशन उतना अच्छा नहीं होगा वहां पे, बट उसमें हमको थोड़ा सा ट्रेड ऑफ करना पड़ता है कि यदि हम उसको कॉम्प्रोमाइज करेंगे वहां पे तो हमारा एडॉप्शन बहुत वीक हो जाएगा और वो हो सकता है यूज ना करें उस चीज को। तो हम लोग उनका एक हमने एक्सेप्ट किया था कि हाँ ठीक है, आप बताइए कि आपको रोटी बनानी है और क्या बनाना है, उसमें क्या क्या चेंजेस कर सकते हैं. वी फाउंड कि वी कुड मेक अप टू देयर सेटिस्फैक्शन without even compromising on the efficiency and the emissions. So, and दूसरा एक उनका था कि हम लोगों ने बड़ा उनको कन्विंस किया कि हमारा एक निर्धूर करके बहुत अच्छा कुक स्टोव है, और वो उसका एफिशिएंसी 33% है, मेटालिक कुक स्टोव है. तो उनका कहना था कि आप दे दीजिए, लेकिन हम आपको मतलब बहुत ज्यादा अश्योरेंस नहीं दे पाएंगे कि हम इसको यूज करेंगे कि नहीं, क्योंकि हम लोग बहुत एजेस से मड कुक स्टोव यूज कर रहे हैं. तो हमें अभी आप पहले मड कुक स्टोव दीजिए, उसके बाद हम देखेंगे आपका मेटल का, और फिर हो सकता है सालों बाद हम एलपीजी को स्विच करें. ये कुछ एक्सपीरियंस थे. प्रकाश जी, आप भी कुछ शेयर कर सकते हैं.
The chiller में there were two big challenges. Number one was the height of the chiller. So it's little height is which the women cannot sit adequately, sit comfortably, and cook. So now the height has come to a very comfortable height. Second thing is what he's mentioning is, they don't cook their rotis on tawas. So they have to bake it below. The base has to be a little wider. You need to feel that a little wider. So we made it. It's comfortable for them to, bake the bread. Third thing was, what innovation was done is, we thought that when we were showing you the mold, there was a kind of a net was inserted. So that gives a gap. So your wood is now sticking to the floor. There is a gap. So airflow is there, so that gives more. It all came from the tree and
Okay. So, see, we know that this is, energy efficient cook stoves are very, very important, especially in rural areas. Now, we are talking about one village now. And of course, we are doing the studies and looking at different parameters. But then, can you give us a sense of the kind of requirement of this kind of fuel efficient stoves across India? So if we have to spread this, maybe this is where probably even the STI also can come in, because they are, as she was saying, are partnering with NGOs in other areas. So, scaling this across the country. So, what are the possibilities? What are the challenges when we specifically talk about this book stuff?
I would say, like if you think about 6 years back or 7 years back, things were very bad. Okay, we had probably one of the highest health burden in this country through cook stove or the chulhas. Okay, so LPG adoption bahut kam tha. And I would like to give complete credit to the government for introducing LPG in such an aggressive way. Okay, बहुत से लोगों को डाउट था कि इतना adoption होगा क्या नहीं होगा करके. So all the compliments to them. Okay, because that's the cleanest fuel as of now available. Although there will be a carbon footprint because LPG जो fossil fuel से आता है. अब कोई भी adoption है, कोई भी technology, उसमें काफी time लगता है. It takes about 10 years or 20 years. Okay. और आज की डेट में there are different figures coming up from the MNRE and this thing, but fairly good adoption in the semi-urban district places and the village, I would say towns. Okay, rural areas में adoption for obvious reasons थोड़ा सा कम है despite the best efforts. और दो reasons के, एक affordability, post COVID वो affordability का और ज़्यादा issue हो गया because the economy was like impacted. दूसरा IC, information, education, communication. They are not aware, in fact, sometimes accessible. But probably what NEEDI also targets that it might take 10 years or 20 years as per the predictions by the International Energy Agency and other credible agencies. But the sizable population, maybe around 30 to 40 crore or 50 crore of people, they are still using the cook stove, which is a very large number. There are people or household which are on the dual fuel. Okay, like LPG plus cook stove. Okay, so it might take time. One quick example is like we want to go for the solar. Okay, we want to really give away with the coal, but we cannot ignore the existing coal-based power plant. We need to take care of their emissions. So similarly, this cook stove issues there. We want everything to be done. So there is a large number of households in next 5 to 10 years, wherein we can target them gradually. We need to make them aware. So that's why I think we need to replicate there after a couple of months of studies, and we would request Landmark Foundation to come forward and maybe many other government agencies. So there's pretty much a scope to reduce the health burden from this cook stove and reduce the wood consumption, which will save your forest, as well as reduce the CO2, which is impacting the having climate change. So I will say this, and I'd like to hear from Tinsy, ma'am.
So essentially exactly what you mentioned, Dr. Nitin, and I think that was the whole idea for us to even initiate a project like this, because it is about creating that kind of an impact across the communities, who are actually going through this kind of a health burden. So while we did that, analysis, we realized that this is something which, can create that kind of a difference, and we still see that as a very high potential. And like Dr. Nitin said, it's just not the health benefit, but also it's going to create a healthy planet. So I don't think we really can ask for more in the long run, till the time the villagers are using the chula, rather using the existing one, getting them to use the improved one is, I think, the whole idea. So finally, that is the way, we want to look at, and we would want to continue, our support in that direction.
One last thing I would like to mention here, that at NEERI, we now realize through these extensive field studies at rural home, there is also a serious problem of ventilation. Like there are two things. One is to create an efficient device. Second is to give them a proper fuel. Okay. In this case, there is hardly any possibility of fuel improvement. Third thing is a ventilation. Okay, so ventilation is a serious issue, and sometimes we found even if you are using the cleanest possible fuel, the cooking emissions, for example, frying emissions, okay, those are so high in like numbers. Sometimes some people report it also. Okay, I'm using this solar, like cook stove or LPG, but still emissions. Those are not the emissions from the cook stove or the fuel. The cooking emissions. There are fuel emissions in this case. So ventilation, we are working quite actively, and we have already devised or developed a small low-cost chimney, which we feel can further add to this kind of a cook stove, okay, and rural setup, okay, even including the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. We are making some efforts. If that chimney goes, then it will, in fact, throw out whatever little emissions are there. So that's another thing we might come up in the future.
Yeah, and one other thing I noticed in Mr. Roshan's presentation was the cost. Where he had mentioned it cost something like 150 rupees, so less than $2. I think that is also something that is very noteworthy when it comes to providing truly not only energy efficient but also a very low cost plus, of course, the health benefits that come with it. So this was a very wonderful experience sharing session for all of us, and we did get to see. I'm grateful to Mr. Prakash and Madam Seema Prakash also with us, who organized the live visuals, and that was, and truly, I mean, the women there cooking, and I hope by now they have probably finished their cooking and had their food, but very well lit up stoves there, absolutely with a lot of fire, literally speaking, a lot of fire and no smoke. We could see that. Thank you so very much, Prakash ji, for organizing that 2 or 3 live visuals that you brought to us. Thank you so very much for that, and of course, Madam Tinsy George, thank you so very much for being here today with us, and more importantly for partnering with CSIR NEERI in taking this initiative forward. And as Dr. Nitin said, this has immense potential for being replicated in, of course, across the country, the kind of scale that he had mentioned. Of course, lastly, to Dr. Nitin and his team, Dr. Roshan, who is here, and Dr. Ankit, who could not join us, who we realize has contributed to this conceptually, but for whatever reason he could not be here. So we will keep this session going. You may like to remain with us because we have other technologies coming with us, and I'm sure Dr. Anuradha is here. So before I invite Dr. Anuradha to take the proceedings forward, once more I will profusely thank the NIRI team, Dr. Nitin, Mr. Ankit, and Mr. Roshan, and of course you, Mr. C. George, for being with us. And Prakash ji, आपको बहुत 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 धन्यवाद. ये easy नहीं है. We fully realize the kind of work that you're doing, and also very flawlessly organizing 2 or 3 people to bring these beneficiaries to us. Actually show it was very, very nicely done. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Anuradha, over to you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. G. Mahesh, for giving such a brief introduction and informative session, which was held just now. So on the outset, I'd like to thank all and welcome all the participants who have joined us today. So as you know, India is celebrating 75 years of independence. So this is the right time to appreciate and assess societal progress with the impact of science, technology, and innovations. Yeah, so we should bring some real stakeholders or users from community who can share their views and their experience about what is the role of science and technology into their life and livelihood. So let me say here, this program is a brainchild of Dr. D. Datta, who is advisor and head seed division of DST, who has conceptualized the program. And this would have not been possible without his push and continuous motivation. So in order to do that, on this auspicious occasion of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, all the 3 departments of Ministry of Science and Technology, DST, DBT, and CSIR, jointly with Ministry of Earth Sciences, organizing this Techneev @75 to highlight the impact of science, technology, and innovation in creating equity, inclusion, and empowerment on community. So I would say we were proud and fortunate because the program was launched by our Honorable Minister of States, Ministry of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences on 25th of November 2021, wherein he had interacted with few of the community members who have benefited through SMT-based projects supported by both the ministries. This Techneev platform is a medium to see how science and technology reach into the community. So here the program is encapsulated in 5 thematic areas to discuss. One is natural resource-based livelihood, energy access to prosperous society. One is integrated community resilience. 4th one is healthy society. And the 5th one is strengthening social capital. So for all those who has just joined, I'd like to introduce this program. This will be a year-long program that will go up to 75 years, up to August 2022, and it is planned for 25 days, 3 hours per day. So how we proceed with this program: during first hour, we get feedback from community groups, how the science and technology has empowered the community. In second hour, we meet and learn from the change makers how these change makers are empowering the society, their surroundings. And in third hour, we have the panel discussion involving some dignitaries, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan awardees who are serving the society few person from the knowledge institutions, NGOs, and community to identify pathways to strengthen and nurture local innovations. This is the way we used to do. Now we have done the 7 such types of programs, and today is the 8th day of Techneev at the rate 75, which is exclusively for CSIR labs, industry users and end users. So focus of each program is not only science and technology here, but it is towards community also. We want to have the experience learning from the community. We want to have the feedback from the community, positive or negative in both ways. So how STIs has impacted their life and livelihood. This is the main aim of the program. As today's theme is energy access to prosperous society, and from the 3 labs of CSIR, one you have going through the first session of the program handled by Dr. G. Mahesh. Now the next session is the technology is the Jaggery making plant, another CSIR lab. So here we will meet today from the lab side, Dr. Pankaj Kumar Arya and Shri Parvesh Kamboj. He is a farmer switched from farming to the social enterprise, and we will also meet Shri Lakshmi Narayan Bokshi. He is a social activist. So as far as the theme of program is concerned, I believe energy has both positive and negative impacts on the society. On one hand, access to abundant, affordable, secure, safe, and clean energy can benefit to human. But on the other hand, energy extraction, transportation, and use can have negative consequences on the health, environment, and economics of the society. Therefore, sufficient production and efficient use of energy resources is equally important. Yeah. So through this program, can we curate efficient and clean energy solutions here? We have to see. Now let us discuss in today's session. In this session, let us discuss with this participants how there is some noise. Dr. Pankaj Arya, can you please mute your? Yeah, thank you. So let us discuss how deep science and technology has reached to the society through this Techneev. Techneev means technological foundation. Kitna depth science and technology society mein gayi hai, that we have to see. Importantly, how it has impacted quality of life, that is Jeevan Star, and the livelihood, Ajivika of the community. We will discuss. So going forward, here we have Dr. Pankaj Arya with us. Dr. Pankaj Kumar Arya is working as a principal scientist at TCD division of CSIR, IIP, Indian Institute of Petroleum Lab from Dehradun. He is a mechanical engineer with over 12 years of R&D experience in the area of energy efficient application of fuels in industrial sector, design, manufacturing, and product development and commercialization. He has been awarded by CSIR Award for SMT interventions for rural development. He and his team are currently working on many rural development projects, including farm-based SMT interventions for socio-economic development in Odisha. That is, this is sponsored by Government of Odisha. He has installed 35 units of such wood-making plant in rural areas under societal initiatives of CSIR. So, do we have Dr. Pankaj Arya? Please unmute.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon, madam. I'm Pankaj Arya.
Good afternoon, all, and namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar, namaskar. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm presently sitting at one of our plant locations, which is located in the Saharanpur district. It's a small village called Sundarpur, and with me is Mr. Parvesh Kamboj ji. Prabhosh Kamboji is a very prospective farmer of this region, and he has more than 50 bighas of land where he cultivates both sugarcane and wheat and other crops. And he's basically one of our beneficiaries. So he has installed more than 3 plants. आपने 3 plants से ज़्यादा लगा चुके हैं अभी तक, based on our technology. And uh, with the help of this plant, he's actually making a lot of profit, because earlier they had this conventional plant, and this conventional plant was actually consuming a lot of energy and creating problem to the surrounding also, because a lot of smoke pollution was there with the conventional plant. So with the new plant design that IIT has developed, basically now they are able to save up to 25% of the fuel, that is bagasse, because they use bagasse as fuel, and also their daily product. With
So,
the
Dr.
same
Arya,
of
Dr. Arya, before coming to advantages, can I ask you, Dr. Arya, can I hear me? Can you hear me?
yes, ma'am, yes.
So before starting, can I ask you how did you identify this problem of smoke emission in traditional Jaggery plant? You are working in a lab. So was it a result of survey or inquisitive driven research, which the work you have done? How did you reach to the condition that you should work something on the Jaggery plant?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, actually, as you know that we are located at Dehradun, and uh, it is a North Indian city, and this North India, is sugarcane is one of the major crops of this region. So when we used to go to Delhi by road, we used to observe all these conventional plants, and we used to observe a lot of smoke coming out of these plants. So suddenly one day, one of our scientists was going to Delhi, and he observed one plant, and he stopped at one plant location and went there. And then he observed the overall plant, and then when he came back to IIP, our institute, he suggested that we can do some modification to these plants, and with the help of these basic inputs, we can really reduce the smoke levels. So we initially started to reduce the smoke level. We basically improved the combustion of fuel in the furnace, so which resulted in the lower emission, but at the same time the overall thermal efficiency of the plant improved. So this is how this idea came, and then we started at a very small level, and we implemented this technology at one location, and then it gained a lot of popularity among other farmers, and then a lot of other farmers came in, and they showed interest in this technology, and this is how this was implemented in the rural areas.
So what one challenge problem you have identified about the smoke emission? What are, I'm sure there will be other problems with the Jaggery plant, which are traditional or conventional. So can you share with us or the audiences, what are the other major challenges for traditional plant operation in rural area?
Yeah, the other problems are like because Jaggery making is a traditional business. It is one of the most prominent cottage industry of this region. So a lot of people they are involved in this business, and it has been going on since a very long period. And but by the time this process has not seen any technological development. So the overall plant technology is based on very old age technique. Even the material of construction is very old, like they use mud and all. And also the plant life is very less. Smoke is a very major challenge, but at the same time, the major problem was that they were not getting the exact profitability out of this business. So whatever they were investing means they were like on the break-even side only. So they were not actually making some profit. So with the implementation of this technique means we have increased the daily production capacity. they are now able to save the fuel also, which they are selling to other occupations like the mushroom cultivation. They are selling the saved bagasse to them. So this is how they are earning more money, and now this overall business has become a profitable business for them. So there were a lot of challenges. So we look into all the aspects of this. In fact, there was issue of laborers also. So we had to train the laborers also who are working on these plants. So there were a lot of challenges that we had to face. But I think now with the installation of more than 50 units so far, I think we have covered almost all the regions of Western UP and this regions near Delhi also. But now we have ventured into other states also, like in Punjab, in Odisha. So Mr. Alan Boxey will be is there, so he will tell us about our experience of Odisha. So because Odisha was a totally different story for us, and their method of making jaggery was entirely different. So I think he will also comment on this. So this is how this work went on, madam. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, the major challenges which you also explained are the Biogas, use of Biogas, and carbon emission, lots of smoke emission through traditional systems. And in addition to that, unhygienic operation, you
Yes.
may also agree to
Yes,
me.
yes.
It is drudgery prone operation. Yes, you are right. And there are few harmful chemicals for color
Yes.
and the hardness they use in making the product out of jaggery, and the lack of consistent quality of that product also. This is
Yes.
another sort of challenge with jaggery unit. So for the audiences who are here with me, I can share Dr. Vishal, who is from IIT Bombay. He is also you might be aware about him. He has made some automated plant of jaggery making, 3-pan jaggery making system, which is now transferred company in Pune, and he has invented this to reduce drudgery and to avoid harmful chemicals and hygienic operation in the plant. So some sort of automatic plant formation intervention has been done. So if I would like to ask you here, if you compare your traditional system wherein you have done some SNT intervention in terms of combustion, and if you compare it with the automatic system, what is the acceptability of the community? If you go across a farmer and try to convince to adopt this, so which one they will prefer? What is your experience if it is done?
Yeah, it's a very good question, madam. So basically, what is stopping them to take advanced technology is that the investment, because all these automated plants and these are basically it requires a lot of investment, and all these farmers with whom we have worked so far, they are they are like average income group farmers. They don't have much money to invest into very high tech plants and so with so this was a major challenge in front of us while we started working on these jaggery plants. So initially we started to put a lot of new techniques and advanced technologies, like we initially started to introduce steam into the system. But later on we found that if we introduce all these new techniques, then it won't be means the farmers, the end user, they won't be able to implement, or they won't be able to run it in a long term. Means they can run it for a year or two, but after some time when something goes, some maintenance is required, or some part goes out of service, then they will face a lot of challenges. So therefore, so then we decided that we will introduce very simple techniques. Like for example, we changed the material of construction, we redesigned the furnace, and we put some basic like fire grading system we introduced into the furnace, which is a very low cost thing, and which is easily available in the rural areas also. So with the help of this new firing system also, they are able to get low smoke, or their combustion efficiency improved. So we based on the acceptability, or based on the technology that they can really afford, we introduced our techniques, or we decided that this kind of scientific intervention would be good for, or suitable for them.
Okay, okay. So a small amount of retrofitting can help them to replace their traditional system, and this sort of intervention can provide them a lot of advantages in other terms. So this is from the point of view, if from the social entrepreneur point of view. If I come to the farmer point of view, this sugarcane harvesting is a seasonal activity, right? So this jaggery making plant would also be the seasonal activity, or this is this run for a year?
Yes, it is also a seasonal activity. But now many of the farmers, they have taken this business as a full-time business. So they run it like for 8 to 9 months in a year. They only stop it during the rainy season. So during rain,
so are they switching? Are the farmers switching from farming to this setup of business sort of initiative? Are they switching? Is it easy to convince them?
Yes. Now a lot of farmers, they have switched to this jaggery making as a full-time business, because it is now more profitable for them.
Okay. So in terms of monetary benefit, they are this sort of small businesses are attracting to farmers to switch from traditional farming to the other options also. Right. So
and also the demand also the demand in the local market means now people are switching towards all these natural sweeteners. They are avoiding like the refined sugar and all. So there is a very good demand in the local market also. So with the increase in the demand, now they are making a lot of jaggeries.
So did you ever do any study on how much kg of sugar cane can produce, how much sugar and how much jaggery on the other hand? Did you do any such?
If you talk about jaggery, it is like 10%, means out of the means we can recover only 10% as jaggery.
Okay.
10 to 12%.
10 to 12%, right?
Yeah.
Right. And a person I can see behind you, can you introduce him?
Yes. Parvesh, आप बात करेंगे. He is Parvesh Kamboj, and he is the owner of this plant. So Parvesh,
so let me introduce Shri Parvesh Kamboj. He is a progressive farmer of village Manoharpur, that is in district Saharanpur, UP. He has 50 bigha of agricultural land at village Manoharpur. He cultivates sugarcane, wheat, and mustard. He showed his interest in CSIR IIP improved jaggery making plant and has installed one plant at his place. Now he produces 15 to 16 quintals of jaggery per day. He has been instrumental in popularizing the technology in nearby villages, and he has been supportive to every such initiative. Namaskar, Shri Pravesh Kamboj ji.
मैडम मैं ये अपना शुगर कैन करीब 40 साल से चला रहा हूँ और जब से मैं IIT के संपर्क में आया, इससे हमें बड़ा लाभ हुआ है। मैं इन सभी लोगों का धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ कि इन्होंने हमें इसमें, इस प्रोग्राम में इतनी हेल्प की कि जो पहले हम इसमें रिक्वायरमेंट करते थे, हमारा लेबर भी ज़्यादा लगती थी, गुड़ कम बनता था। और जब से IIT के संपर्क में आए, तब से गुड़ ज़्यादा बनता है, ईंधन कम लगता है, और गुड़ की मात्रा भी बहुत बढ़िया बनती है। क्योंकि पहले गुड़ जिस भट्टी से बनाते थे, उसमें गुड़ में जलन महसूस होती थी। अब ईंधन कम लगने की वजह से, ईंधन की मात्रा कम लगने से वो गुड़ में जलन की मात्रा नहीं महसूस नहीं होती। गुड़ बहुत बढ़िया गुड़ बनता है। हम
अच्छा गुड़ बनता है।
हाँ,
तो आप सबसे पहला मेरा सवाल आपसे ये होगा कि आप IIP तक कैसे पहुंचे, या IIP आप तक कैसे पहुंची?
IIP से हम जैसे ही हमारा संपर्क हुआ था, पहले समाचार माध्यम के द्वारा से, तो हमने इन लोगों से संपर्क किया। पहले ये लोग हमारे पास भी आए, हम वहाँ भी पहुँचे देहरादून। तो ये संपर्क जैसे ही हमें इनके बारे में जानकारी मिली कि ये लोग गुड़ भट्टी बनाते हैं, गुड़ भट्टी बनवा के मतलब इतना फायदा होता है कि जिसमें ईंधन भी कम लगता है, धुएं की मात्रा कम होती है, प्रदूषण नहीं होता। तो हम इन लोगों के संपर्क में आए, इन्होंने हमें इसके बारे में जानकारी दी, और जानकारी दी हमें 2-4 यहाँ इलाके में गुड़ भट्टियाँ भी बनवाई, जिसमें पहली भट्टी तो मेरी थी, जिससे हमें इतना लाभ मिला कि हम इनके काम से बड़े संतुष्ट हैं, और इनका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहते हैं कि इन्होंने तो हमें इस तरक्की के मुकाम पर पहुंचाया कि हम थोड़े समय में दुगना गुड़ बना देते हैं, गन्ने की पिराई जगह मजदूरी कम लगती है, सब कुछ हमें इसमें बहुत मतलब आनंद आता है।
तो एक गुड़ भट्टी लगाने के लिए कितनी जमीन चाहिए होती है? लैंड की रिक्वायरमेंट
जमीन, लैंड तो इसमें कम से कम मैडम 4-5 बीघा जमीन तो चाहिए ही चाहिए, कोई सुखाने से, कोई सोना, हाँ सुखाने से।
और कितनी लागत आती है इसमें एक गुड़ भट्टी लगाने में? इसी डिजाइन के साथ जो भी IIP ने आपको ट्रांसफर किया है, इसी डिजाइन के साथ में कितनी लागत आती है उसमें?
और पहले तो गुड़ भट्टी में लागत भी उसमें ज्यादा लग जाती थी। अब इनके हिसाब से लागत तो करीब 10 लाख के लगभग लग जाते हैं, क्योंकि सारी टेक्नोलॉजी इन्होंने बहुत ही बढ़िया तरीके से बनाई है। एक चिमनी में भी एक डंपर का जो अरेंजमेंट किया है, उससे धुआं भी कम निकलता है, और भट्टी में हीट भी ज्यादा बनती है, उससे हमें बड़ा फायदा मिलता है।
बहुत अच्छा। तो आपकी इस भट्टी में आप कितने लोगों को रोजगार दे रहे हैं? आप रोजगार भी दे रहे हैं ना? आपकी गुड़ भट्टी में कितने कारीगर और कितने लेबर काम करते हैं?
मेरे पास कम से कम 14-15 लोग काम करते हैं। पहले भी इतने लोग काम करते थे, तो उसमें गुड़ की मात्रा में पहुंचता था 10-12 कुंटल तक, और अब गुड़ की मात्रा में कम से कम 17-18 कुंटल पर पहुंच जाता हूँ। लेबर वही है।
अच्छा, आपने तो ये बिजनेस शुरू ही किया है। इससे पहले जो ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस रहे होंगे, ट्रेडिशनल गुड़ भट्टी आपने देखी है, उससे इसको आप कंपेयर करेंगे तो क्या आप कोशिश करते हैं अपने आसपास वाले लोगों को मोबिलाइज करने के लिए, उनको कन्विंस करने के लिए कि आप भी ऐसा प्लांट लगाएं?
हमने कई बार मैडम हमने कई बार यहाँ मीटिंग भी की, लोगों के कई भट्टियां बनवाई हैं। सभी लोग इस नई तकनीक IIP के हिसाब से अपनी उसी तकनीक से अपनी भट्टियां चला रहे हैं, उनको बड़ा फायदा हो रहा है। सब लोग मतलब IIP के काम से संतुष्ट है।
तो आपने फायदे की बात करी है, कितना फायदा हो जाता है पर ईयर? जो भट्टी मालिक है उसको कितना फायदा हो जाता है?
कुल मिला के इसमें कम से कम 4-5 लाख रुपए का फायदा हो जाता है
पर ईयर, साल में इतना होता है?
हाँ, पर ईयर।
और तो इसमें आप बगास उसका यूज करते हैं तरह पहले जो घटिया थे और अब
जी
आप कितना कितना प्रतिशत कम बगास यूज होता है जो आप इसमें आप यूज करते हैं ना, जो फ्यूल ईंधन जो यूज करते हैं वो कितना कितना परसेंटेज कम होता है इस नए डिजाइन के साथ में?
इस नए प्लांट में कम से कम आधा आधा ईंधन, आधे से कुछ थोड़ा सा ज्यादा लग जाए, आधा ईंधन पे कम हो जाता है। पहले दुगना ईंधन लगता था, अब ईंधन बहुत कम लगता है, धुआं भी कम निकलता है, बहुत फायदा होता है। उस ईंधन से हमें बड़ा प्रॉफिट होता है। उस ईंधन को हम गत्ता मिल को और बॉयलर वगैरह में कहीं भी बेच देते हैं और कुछ स्टॉक के लिए भी रख लेते हैं, क्योंकि आने वाले अगले साल के लिए भी हमें ईंधन की पूर्ति के लिए पहले ही स्टॉक रखना पड़ता है। पहले ईंधन बचता ही नहीं था, बहुत कम ईंधन।
आप प्लानिंग कर लेते हैं कि नेक्स्ट ईयर आपको कितना एक्स्ट्रा चाहिए रहा होगा, तो आप प्लान करते हैं और अपने पास रखते हैं उसको। अच्छा, अब आप मुझे ये बताइए कि जो इसका बैच साइज जो होता है, एक बार में कितना गुड़ बना पाते हैं?
एक बार में
I
4
think we
बजे
have
से
lost.
चलाते हैं।
Yeah. हम सुन पा रहे हैं आपको, बताइए।
Yeah, they seem to have some connectivity issue.
Yeah, I think. So can we connect to Shri Lakshmi Narayan Bakshi till the time we can reconnect to Dr. Pankaj Arya's team?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, namaste. Namaskar.
Sir,
Dr. Anuradha and all the team member of the afternoon winner.
नमस्कार नमस्कार
सर नमस्कार।
तो आपसे बाद में जुड़ेंगे श्री बख्शी जी। डॉक्टर पंकज आर्या, आप हमें प्लांट पर ले जाना चाह रहे थे। डॉक्टर पंकज आर्या, कैन यू हियर?
हाँ, यस मैडम।
आप प्लान कर रहे थे प्लांट को शो करने के लिए?
हाँ, मैं एक्चुअली क्या हुआ कि कल शाम यहाँ काफी तेज बारिश हुई है, तो इस वजह से आज ये प्लांट नहीं चलेगा। तो इसके लिए, क्योंकि क्या है कि जो खोई है उसको ये ओपन में सुखाते हैं, तो उस खोई में अभी मॉइस्चर की मात्रा थोड़ी ज्यादा है, तो उससे जो है वो ढंग से वो जलेगी नहीं, भट्टी में हीटिंग नहीं होगी। इसलिए वो आज थोड़ा सा इसको समय देंगे और कल से इसको चलाएंगे। तो बड़ा ही अनफॉर्चुनेट रहा कि कल बारिश की वजह से मैं प्लांट आपको दिखा नहीं पाया। इसके लिए आपसे क्षमा चाहूंगा मैडम मैं।
कोई बात नहीं, इट्स अ नेचुरल कॉज होता है, बट मैं श्री प्रवेश काम्बोज जी से फिर से बात करना चाहूंगी। आप सुन पा रहे हैं मुझे?
जी सर।
आप सुन पा रहे हैं?
हाँ जी, सुन पा रहा हूँ सर।
अच्छा, ये बताइए कि आपको क्या लगता है कौन से स्टेट्स ऐसे हैं जहां पर ऐसी गुड़ भट्टियां लगनी चाहिए? कौन से स्टेट्स ऐसे हैं जहां पर शुगर केन ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस होता है, जहां पर ये लगनी चाहिए भट्टियां? और अगर बात करें ऑटोमेटेड प्लांट की, तो यहाँ लोगों का क्या रुझान है? क्या वो लोग ऐसी भट्टियां चाहते हैं या वो फुल्ली ऑटोमेटेड प्लांट्स चाहते हैं? आपका क्या व्यू है इसमें?
हमारा तो गुड़ भट्टी हमारे इलाके में भी काफी हैं जो इनके द्वारा लगाई गई है। काफी भट्टियां हैं हमारे बराबर में ही उत्तराखंड है, मैं यूपी से हूँ और यहाँ काफी गुड़ भट्टी लगी हुई हैं जो IIT के द्वारा माध्यम से चल रही हैं और बड़ा लाभ होगा। हाँ, 40-50 भट्टी कम से कम है।
तो अगर कोई टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टी आती है, कोई फॉल्ट आती है इनके जो IIP ने आपको टेक्नोलॉजी दी है उससे रिलेटेड, तो आप कैसे अप्रोच करते हैं उनको? आप कैसे कनेक्ट होते हैं उनसे? आर दे अवेलेबल 24/7 रहते हैं आपके पास कि आप उनसे टेक्निकल हेल्प ले पाएं?
पहली बात तो इतनी कोई कमी आती नहीं है, अगर आती भी है तो थोड़ी बहुत उसको अपने आप भी या इनके माध्यम से हम मतलब तो ठीक कर लेते हैं।
अच्छा, तो आप सर्विसिंग एंड ऑल वो सिखाते भी हैं, वो ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं, उसकी ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं, और अगर आपके क्षेत्र से कोई वो ट्रेनिंग लेना चाहे तो वो ले भी सकते हैं, आप उनको कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं।
ठीक है सर,
बड़ा अच्छा लगा आपसे मिलकर। नमस्कार, थैंक यू।
चलो सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
क्या मैं बात कर सकती हूँ पंकज आर्य जी से?
हाँ, पंकज जी से बात।
यस मैडम।
डॉक्टर पंकज आर्य, हम बड़ा अच्छा लगा इनसे बात करके। हम पीछे भी देख पा रहे हैं एक बुजुर्ग हैं जो शायद हमसे बात कर सकते हैं।
बेचने वाला है, गन्ने के पैसे लेने आए
ये गन्ना बेचने वाले,
गुड़ भट्टी पकाने वाले हैं।
बात करेंगे
कारीगर कर लेगा,
सवाल पूछेंगे तो बता देना,
हमारे
करो बात।
फायदा हुआ है
तो बैठो, इसमें आराम से बैठो, बैठो आराम से।
जी नमस्कार जी।
नमस्कार
जी, हम गुड़ बनाने वाले कारीगर हैं।
नमस्कार जी, आपका नाम क्या है?
ज्ञानचंद।
आप इसी एरिया से हैं?
जी।
आप क्या काम करते हैं यहाँ?
जी, हम गुड़ बनाते हैं चरखी में, यहाँ भट्टी पर।
अच्छा, आप यही काम करते हैं। आपने इससे पहले जब ये गुड़ भट्टी नहीं थी तो आप क्या काम करते थे?
फिर अपना खेती बाड़ी का काम भी मजदूरी कर लेते हैं अपनी, और अपने पास खेती तो है नहीं।
खेती नहीं है। अच्छा, तो आप कितनी कमाई कर पाते हैं इससे?
जी, हमारा 6 महीने का सीजन होता है, उसके बाद फिर अपना घर का काम मजदूरी कर ले।
कितना कमा लेते हैं हर महीना? कितना कमा लेते हैं?
हर महीना का तो उसमें छुट्टी भी लग जाती है और काम भी चल जाता है,
कुछ कमाई हो जाती है। अच्छा,
जी,
तो आप खुश हैं कि आपके एरिया में गुड़ भट्टी लगी है? और कुछ साइंस एंड मैं साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट से बोल रही हूँ, दिल्ली से। आपको बहुत लोग देख रहे हैं, तो आप हमें बताइए कि अगर आपके एरिया में ये गुड़ भट्टी लगी है जिसमें साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी का इंटरवेंशन है, यहाँ लोगों को कितना फायदा हो रहा है इससे?
देखो जी, ये तो ऊपर भाव के ऊपर बात है। गुड़ का भाव कभी नीचे कभी ऊपर होता है, गन्ना स्टॉक लगा रहता है, उसमें नुकसान हो जाता है, फायदा भी हो जाता है।
अच्छा, तो पहले जो गुड़ भट्टियां हुआ करती थी और अब जो ये है, इसमें आप कोई अंतर महसूस कर पा रहे हैं?
जी हाँ,
बताइए।
इसमें थोड़ा हमें खोई की बचत हो जाती थोड़ी।
नहीं सुना नहीं आपको, बताइए, फिर से बताइए प्लीज।
पहले की अपेक्षा जो है बदलाव आया भट्टियों में, वो इसमें थोड़ा खोई का फायदा हो जाता है।
वो क्या बदलाव है, आप समझते हैं वो क्या बदलाव आया है?
पहले 3 तरह की भट्टियां थी, अब 4 की बना दी है, इसलिए थोड़ा बदलाव आ गया।
अच्छा, थैंक यू, नमस्कार।
नमस्कार जी।
Dr. Arya, we can see people are aware, at least they know there is some change because of science and technology intervention.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this sort of social enterprise is providing them opportunity to work apart from their farming, and they are happy to share with us that they are earning something, at least this is changing their life somehow, right? And this is also came to the notice of all that IIP is ready to provide any technical help or training regarding it. If anyone from the area or the state which is having excess amount of sugarcane production, they can come and contact to IIP. Am I right, Dr. Arya?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Actually, the credit goes to our director, Dr. Anjan Ray. I think he has really motivated us to work for the farmers, and he has been always supportive to us in our initiative for the rural development. So I think with the support of him, we are able to reach out to many other states also. Not only we are restricted to Uttar Pradesh and northern part, but now as you were talking to Boxi sir, we have taken this project from the state government of Odisha, and I think from this year only we have started working on Gurbattis of Odisha, and I think it will be a great success in the state of Odisha.
Yeah. So other than this IIPA, my next question is, other scientific institutions or the organizations which can help to the people who cannot reach directly to IIP, can you suggest them? जो ऐसे लोग जो IIP तक नहीं पहुंच सकते, और कहाँ इस टाइप के जैगरी सिस्टम और प्लांट से उन्हें हेल्प मिल सकती है, और कौन से ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं?
इसमें शुगर केन रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट जो कि लखनऊ में है, उनके पास वो किसान जा सकते हैं, और उसमें उनको न सिर्फ गुड़भट्टी की बल्कि गन्ने की कई जो ऐसी वैरायटीज हैं जिससे कि वो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी बढ़ा सकते हैं, उसका भी उनको इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी, क्योंकि गन्ने की भी कई ऐसी वैरायटीज होती हैं मैडम जिसमें दे कैन टेक अप टू 15% ऑफ रिकवरी। तो उस पे भी काफी निर्भर करता है इस ओवरऑल बिजनेस की प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी की गन्ना कौन सी प्रजाति का यूज कर रहे हैं। तो शुगर केन रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट लखनऊ में जो है वहाँ पे संपर्क कर सकते हैं, काफी जानकारी मिलेगी।
ओके, थैंक यू। ये IIFPT इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ फूड प्रोसेसिंग टेक्नोलॉजी, उससे किस तरह की हेल्प मिल सकती है? इसमें कहीं स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन में कोई टेक्निकल और एनालिटिकल हेल्प मिल सकती है ऐसे?
बिल्कुल, आपने बहुत अच्छा सवाल किया मैडम। जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बताया था कि ऑर्गेनिक फूड्स का आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा प्रचलन है। अगर आप सुपरमार्केट में जाएंगे तो हर तरह के ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स आप चाहते हैं कि दाल हो चाहे कोई भी खाने की चीज़ हो, तो इसी प्रकार से ऑर्गेनिक जैगरी भी कुछ हमारे किसान भाई बना रहे हैं, जिसमें कि जो शुगर केन है वो बेसिकली ऑर्गेनिक होता है। और ये जो ऑर्गेनिक जैगरी है इसका सिर्फ हमारे देश में नहीं बल्कि कई बाहर के देशों में भी इसकी अच्छी डिमांड है। और परंतु जो बाहर के देश में जब इसको एक्सपोर्ट किया जाएगा तो वहाँ पे कुछ पैरामीटर्स होते हैं जिन पे कि उसकी गुणवत्ता को जांच करनी जरूरी होगी। तो उसके लिए इस तरह के इंस्टीट्यूट जिसका कि आपने जिक्र किया और FSSI की सर्टिफिकेशन जरूरी रहेगी। तो इस तरह के इंस्टीट्यूट इन सर्टिफिकेशन लेने में किसानों की मदद कर सकते हैं।
अच्छा, थैंक यू सो मच।
जो कि स्पेशली एक्सपोर्ट में, हाँ, जो कि एक्सपोर्ट करना चाहते हैं।
अच्छा डॉक्टर आर्या, जब हम ऑर्गेनिक की बात करते हैं, शुगर केन ऑर्गेनिक है, जैगरी ऑर्गेनिक है कि नहीं, ये हमें कैसे पता चलता है? एज ए लेमैन अगर मैं बात करूं, जैगरी प्रोडक्ट ऑर्गेनिक है और अनऑर्गेनिक है ऑन द अदर साइड, तो हेल्थ पर क्या उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होंगे, साइड इफेक्ट्स होंगे जो कि नॉन ऑर्गेनिक है, और ऑर्गेनिक के क्या एडवांटेजेस होंगे, आप बताएंगे?
देखिए, बहुत ज्यादा मैं कमेंट नहीं कर पाऊंगा इस विषय पे, पर ऑर्गेनिक बनाने के लिए कोई भी प्रोडक्ट या कोई भी खाद्य सामग्री वो बड़ा एक लंबा प्रोसेस है। मतलब वो आपकी लैंड से ही शुरू होता है। लैंड को ही आपको 2 या 3 साल का समय देना पड़ता है जो भी उसमें पहले यूरिया या दूसरे तरह के उर्वरकों का इस्तेमाल किया गया होगा पहले, तो उस यूज को भी कम करते हुए उसमें गोबर या नेचुरल उर्वरकों का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। फिर जो आपका उसमें क्रॉप हम उगाएंगे, अगर गन्ना भी उगा रहे हैं तो वो गन्ना भी आपका ऑर्गेनिक उसका ओरिजिन होना चाहिए, उसमें किसी भी प्रकार का केमिकल किसी भी स्तर पे इस्तेमाल नहीं हुआ होना चाहिए। तो ये एक बहुत लंबा प्रोसेस है जिसमें कि 4 से 5 साल लग जाते हैं एक ऑर्गेनिक गन्ना पैदा करने में। तो वो ऑर्गेनिक गन्ने से जो गुड़ बनेगा और उसमें किसी भी प्रकार का केमिकल का इस्तेमाल नहीं होगा क्लीनिंग के दौरान भी, प्रोसेस के दौरान भी, तो उस तरह के जैगरी या गुड़ को हम जो है ऑर्गेनिक गुड़ कहेंगे। तो ये थोड़ा एक लंबा समय है, एक किसान को लगभग 4 से 5 साल लग जाते हैं ऑर्गेनिक गुड़ बनाने में। और जहाँ तक स्वास्थ्य लाभ की बात है कि ऑफकोर्स जैसे कि आप जानते हैं कि गुड़ में जो है आयरन की मात्रा काफी अधिक रहती है, लगभग 11% तक रहती है। तो ये उन सभी लोगों के लिए जो कि जिनको कि रक्त संबंधी कोई परेशानी है, जैसे एनीमिया से शिकार हैं, और स्पेशली महिलाएं जिनमें कि ये बीमारियां इस तरह की आम पाई जाती है, तो उनकी सेहत के लिए ये ऑर्गेनिक जैगरी बहुत ही फायदेमंद साबित होता है कंपेयर टू दिस कन्वेंशनल जैगरी।
Very rightly said, Dr. Arya. Since Jaggery has so many nutritional values, like it has, apart from the iron, it has vitamin C, vitamin A, other minerals also, and it is also a traditional sweetener. So sometimes in religious festivals we use the Jaggery instead of normal sugar, and to the society which is at a level at a higher level in terms of economics. So such type of society nowadays they are preferring Jaggery, use of Jaggery instead of using sugar. In terms of quality of Jaggery, you have told us that they can be organic and inorganic, and the process making is different, right? So, but if we talk about the shelf life of Jaggery, it is here about 5 to 6 months, if I am not wrong. So, yeah, what are the SMT interventions which can increase the shelf life of Jaggery? Any view on this?
Actually, we have not worked on this aspect, but I know a few institutes which have worked on this aspect, and there is an institute near Meerut, and they have developed certain kind of packaging to increase the shelf life of these Jaggery products. So, but we have not worked into this area.
Okay. Thank you so much. हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए now can we connect to our third participant Shri Lakshmi Narayan ji.
नमस्कार
So, Ellen,
सभी को नमस्कार।
नमस्कार. Shri Ellen Hoxie is a social activist and science communicator also, for his sincere contribution towards the development of scientific temperament and attitude among students and rural masses. He is also a co-opted member of the Implementation Committee of Science and Technology Intervention Program for the Nabarangpur district of Odisha. He's also launched a social media program that you will be telling us more detail about it. And he and his team are currently working on so many rural development projects, including the farm-based SNT interventions for socio-economic development in Odisha. So, welcome Shri Ellen Hoxie ji in the program that is Techneev @75. हम इस प्रोग्राम के थ्रू जो कि 15 नवंबर 2021 से स्टार्ट हुआ, हम कोशिश करते हैं कि जो ग्राउंड लेवल पर कम्युनिटी ग्रुप्स हैं और चेंज मेकर्स हैं, लीडर्स हैं जो कि कम्युनिटी को हेल्प कर रहे हैं, सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं उनको इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, सोशल बेनिफिट, ऐसे लोगों से हम जुड़ते हैं, उनके साथ एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करते हैं So welcome once again in this program. First of all, we will talk about this social media program. आप अपने बारे में बताइए और प्लीज ऑडियंसेस को बताइए कि ये जो सोशल मीडिया प्रोग्राम आप चला रहे हैं वो क्या है।
नमस्कार, मैं लक्ष्मी नारायण बख्शी पिछले 20 साल से जर्नलिज्म भी करता हूँ, सोशल एक्टिविस्ट हूँ। पिछले जो कोरोना का में जो पेंडेमिक था उसमें बच्चे लोग को काफी मेंटल स्ट्रेस है, तो हमने जितना जो वैज्ञानिक है देश के, चाहे ICIR हो, CSIR हो, DBT हो, ICMR हो और IIT और दूसरा जो है, उन सबके साथ मिलकर एक प्रोग्राम मूव इज समर्थ और इट कैन कॉल्ड एज आई एम कैपेबल। दिस इज ए कंप्लीटली स्टूडेंट बेस्ड प्रोग्राम एंड इट इज अ रिसर्च रिलेटेड प्रोग्राम। मान लीजिए कि उनके करियर में कैसे ग्रोथ कर सकते हैं साइंस को लेकर, तो लिए हम बेसिकली और फोकस वाज साइंस एंड पार्टली इवन आर्ट्स एंड कॉमर्स ऑल्सो। तो जैसे बैंकिंग में कैसे जा सके, कोई जो फ्रेश IAS पास आउट हुए उन लोग को बुला रहे थे और हर दैट इज द प्रोग्राम ओनली फॉर 1 hour, 2 to 3 गेस्ट, 10 to 15 minutes 1 गेस्ट उनका जो व्यक्तिगत जो अभिज्ञता थी उसमें शेयर कर रहे थे और हम ज्यादा कोशिश कर रहे थे कि पार्टिसिपेटरी अप्रोच, बच्चे लोग का जो सवाल, उनका कुछ मन में जो अपने करियर के रिलेटेड जो भी सवाल थे उस लोग को हम लेते थे। इसका अलावा मैंने एक प्रोग्राम देश की एकमात्र प्रोग्राम देश में चल रहा है जो साइंस कम्युनिकेशन प्रोग्राम, जो हिंदी, इंग्लिश एंड उड़िया में चलता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड दिशा, फॉर ऑल द जितना जो वैज्ञानिक, देश के वैज्ञानिक, चाहे DST सेक्रेटरी हो, DBT सेक्रेटरी हो या DG CSR हो, DG IMD हो, देश के जितने जाने माने वैज्ञानिक उनके पास ज्ञान है, उनका संस्थान में मेरे साथ साझा किए हैं और बच्चे लोग को इंस्पायर करने के लिए प्रोग्राम जून 2018 से अभी तक वो प्रोग्राम चल रहे हैं और कितना जो ज्ञान है, चाहे कृषि के ऊपर या दूसरे जो सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर, फार्मर या स्टूडेंट के लिए, ये हम कर रहे हैं। इसके अलावा इस प्रोग्राम के माध्यम से हमने काफी सारा वैज्ञानिकों से, देश के वैज्ञानिकों से जुड़े हुए हैं, जिसके हम उनका दीदी अभी जो डायरेक्टर है डॉक्टर अंजन रे, इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ पेट्रोलियम, और दूसरा डायरेक्टर जो NBRI लखनऊ डॉक्टर पारिक एंड CSIR ये सब मिलकर हम एक डेवलपमेंटल प्लान इंडिया में फर्स्ट टाइम एक प्लान किया, जिसमें 12 देश की ICIR, CSIR, DBT एंड ICMR का 12 संस्था लेकर एक एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट में काम शुरू किया 2018 से। ये जो प्रोग्राम है फार्म बेस्ड एसेंट इंटरवेंशन फॉर सोशल इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट ऑफ उड़ीसा।
हाँ जी बताइए।
तो इनके हिसाब से हमने देश की जो जाने माने संस्थान है, IIP एक भी है नॉर्थन इंडिया से, साउथर्न इंडिया से इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट आपका CFTRA भी है, फूड टेक्नोलॉजी है। तो हमने ये जो जैगरी का पिछले 3-4 महीने शुरू हुआ है, हमने देखा है कि छोटा सा ज्ञान है, इतना बहुत बड़ा ज्ञान है नहीं। उनका जैसे पहले जो गुड़ निकलता था उसमें अलग था, इन लोग का जो कहने का है वो जंगली भिंडी और लेडीज फिंगर, उसको थोड़ा घोल कर उसमें गोला देते हैं, उसको थोड़ा स्ट्रेनर से निकल देने से वो रेड हो जाता है। देयर इज नो केमिकल यूज ऑफ केमिकल, दिस इज कंप्लीटली इंडिजिनस टेक्नोलॉजी। बट ये छोटा सा ज्ञान था हमारा जो गांव में अभी हुआ है चुरांडी में, उस जगह में लगभग 200 गुड़ भट्टी है। अभी वो गुड़ भट्टी को जो नवरंगपुर में लगभग 2000 से ज्यादा गुड़ भट्टी अभी चला रहे हैं। अभी मान लीजिए कि डेमोस्ट्रेशन के तरफ से हमने लिया है और उसमें सभी आकर देख रहे हैं कि फार्मर ये जो क्वालिटी ऑफ गुड कैसे इम्प्रूवमेंट हो रहा है, अभी देख रहे हैं। हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि अगले जो 6 महीने में और 2-3 भट्टे भी वर इन प्लानिंग। अभी तो एडिशनल चीफ सेक्रेटरी के साथ अभी सभी इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ हो रहे हैं, तो हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि ये जो ज्ञान लैब टू लैब जरूर उनका फायदेमंद आ रहे हैं और उसमें कोई बोल नहीं पाए कि उनका जो इनोवेशन गांव में जाकर उनका कुछ विकास हुआ नहीं।
या So it is good to hear from your side that you are social activist and science communicator. Also, you are promoting students and you are training them to come towards this agri interventions, SMT interventions, and which can bring small intervention can bring a big change. Like you are telling about this lady finger, use of it can remove some chemicals from the syrup. So this sort of intervention can be brought from the ground level people. They have wisdom. They have the traditional knowledge which can be shared with the students who are unaware and sitting in the labs. They are doing experimentations. There should be some programs in terms of government. I'm talking about. There should be some governmental programs where there should be cross collaboration. There should be what we can say, some science students, technological students should come and connect to the farmers, real ground people, the villagers, and learn from them, so that this traditional knowledge will not vanish after some time. Coming to linking to this point, as you have worked on so many projects, what from systemic point of view, what do you think, what kind of fund can be provided or is required from scientific ministries and departments to mobilize community, local people towards SMT interventions? What do you think? What type of programs or schemes can be, and what kind of fund will be required in that? If you can guide us in that.
देखिए मैडम, अभी I already not only in Odisha, I visited different state also. Even if in Delhi, I have already interacted with many students like Ghaziabad, all these things. What I feel that students are they only in the urban student, they have a lot of knowledge through the different platform. But in the rural platform, they have nothing, no knowledge about the science. सपोज मान लीजिए कि अभी देश का कुछ, अभी मान लीजिए कि C-52 लॉन्च किया, उनका मान लीजिए कि अभी DRDO में कुछ हुआ है, तो उनका पास ज्ञान बहुत कम है. तो मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगा कि साइंस कम्युनिकेशन, आई थिंक इन प्लेटफॉर्म लाइक योर मिनिस्टर जितेंद्र सिंह और Monday, or everybody is telling about there is a lack of science communicator in our society. So we have to promote science communicator. Even if I am suggested to different head of the state country, promoting the science communicator. If once we promoting the science communicator among the society, then there will be a huge impact in the areas. And nothing, we cannot change, not require 100 years. We will change just within 2 years of intervention in the most backward India. Low literacy, female literacy in India. Even if in that situation, we have changed drastically. Even those who are not cultivating the aromatic crop, they are cultivating aromatic crop. They are producing a limited product from aromatic crop. One of our entrepreneurs will join on 18th in Indian Research Institute of International. So just within the 2 to 3 years, we are changing the society. At least we can say 10,000 to 20,000. That should be replicated in different the state. So I think the जो कह रहे हैं कि विज्ञान सर्वत्र पूज्य थे, तो ये विज्ञान तो जरूर उनका सरस्वती बनेगा ही बनेगा, उसके लिए काम करना जरूरी.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful suggestion. We have noted down your suggestion. We'll try to bring to the higher authority, in the knowledge of higher authority. And thank you so much हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. Thank you so much Dr. Pankaj Arya sir. Thank you so much श्री प्रवेश काम्बोज जी हमारे साथ आज जुड़ने के लिए. आपके सुझाव, आपके suggestions, आपके experiences were really wonderful. सब लोग I'm sure कि लोग कोशिश करेंगे आप तक कनेक्ट होने की, आपसे सीखने की और उसको ग्राउंड पर इम्प्लीमेंट करने की, so that down the line after 25 years this vision of our Prime Minister Atmanirbhar Bharat can be achieved soon. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr. Anuradha, and thank you, Dr. Arya, and all of you there, Lakshminarayan, Bakshiji, and our others who are beneficiaries who had joined us from Dehradun and around. So that was really an interesting session. Now, of course, it was about making Jaggery using the improved plant. Now we will move on to another topic, which is also has something to do with food. And this story or this technology rather comes to you from the National Institute of Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram. In fact, when I was looking at some data on food waste, of course, Dr. Krishna Kumar will give us more information on this. I just read that there is a UNEP report that says that this is a 2021 report, UNEP 2021 report. This report is called the Food Waste Index Report. And according to this report, globally, 931 million tons of food is wasted. And speaking of India, it is said that we waste as much as 50 kg food per capita per person. So that is of course, this piece of information I don't think is not known to many. Of course, I didn't know about it. So that is huge. I mean, we're wasting so much of food, and we have a technology that comes from the CSIR, National Institute of Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram, that converts this food waste into energy. So this third topic that we have for today is the compact food biogas, compact food waste biogas unit. And for this, we have the team from the CSIR, National Institute of Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, connected with us. We have Dr. B. Krishna Kumar, who is a senior principal scientist, and he is the head of the division on environmental science.
I make a correction. I'm heading that particular project.
Yeah, the project. Yeah, he's heading the project, and he's a PhD in microbiology from the University of Kerala and a postdoctoral from the National Institute of Environmental Studies from Japan. And it's a very detailed profile that we have here. But then the last line where he has been involved in this area on working on the principle of solid waste anaerobic digestion. Yeah, so we will, as we go along, we will get to realize know the contributions that have come from him and his team in NIST on biogas waste or the development of biogas units generating energy from food waste from these biogas units. So we also have with us Mr. Bipin Nath, who is the industry partner, who's a technology partner for this technology. So he is with a startup company called EcoCure Technologies, a startup company that is involved in the field of installation of this particular technology that we are talking about, which is a compact food waste biogas plant. Welcome, Mr. Dipin. And we also have Mr. Johnson,
Yes,
who is the who is the end user or is the beneficiary of this technology. So Mr. Johnson, he is with the Marthoma Hospital Guidance and Counseling Center, again in Thiruvananthapuram. So, so this particular center, the Marthoma Hospital Guidance Center, so this center is involved in taking care of patients. If we can, it's basically a charity unit, and it provides free accommodation and food for people belonging to the economically weaker section of the society. And I was saying, there are many patients who come to the capital city of Kerala for treatments of critical ailments such as cancer and kidney patients who require a prolonged stay in the city. So he provides facilities for them to stay, provides them accommodation and food. And in the process, there is also some generation of food waste in this activity. So he's someone who has used this technology to develop, who is using this technology to develop biogas. So we will get to hear more details from each of them. So I'll begin with Dr. Krishna Kumar. So Dr. Krishna Kumar, see, before we get into nitty-gritties of this compact food waste biogas unit, we have people who are connected with us on our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube. So let us start off with, maybe many of us are aware, but still, to put it in context, if we can start off by giving a bit of description of what exactly is a biogas plant. So we'll start from that.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mahesh. Thank you, Dr. Madam from the DST and all those who are listening to this program. Good evening to one and all. Myself, Dr. Krishna Kumar. I'm a senior principal scientist from the Environment Technology Division of one of the sister labs of CSIR at Thiruvananthapuram. Biogas plant is, everybody knows biogas plant, but the biogas plant that we have is something unique, and it has certain advantage compared with the existing biogas plant in terms of its performance. Like the recovery of biogas, if you compare the recovery of biogas from this biogas plant, so on an average from food waste, this system can generate around 200 liter biogas. So when you compare with the conventional biogas plant, the volume of biogas you can recover per kg wet weight of food waste that may vary from say 60 to maximum 100 or 140 liter. Whereas this can produce up to 200 liter biogas. That's the value I'm giving from the field observation result. And not only that, as Dr. Mahesh rightly mentioned, this system works on the principle called solid state digestion or dry digestion. That means only food waste we are treating. We don't need to add any water, because water consumption in this scenario is very challenging, and many places water availability is very limited. And if you have huge quantity of water, and if you want to mix water along with food waste, that's another practical challenge. But this system does not need any water. Food waste as such, after mechanical crushing, you can directly feed to the system, and you can generate a large quantity of biogas. And another advantage is, as the name indicates, it's very compact. So it occupies a very less space for installation. So this is a prefabricated system. You can install at any place. And if you want to move the system from one place to another, that is also very easy. And since you're not adding any water to this system, the discharge slurry volume is also very less. So if you have a huge volume of discharge slurry, the management of that is another issue. Here, you're not adding any water here, and so the discharge volume is also less. So it has many advantages. I have a couple of field installations photos. With your permission, I can share a very small PPT that will tell the story more clear. I'll share the slide now. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So this is field installations. I'm just showing only photographs of field installed niche compact organic waste biogas plants. So most of these installations we did under the CSIR Societal Research Program a couple of years back. So this is one system we installed almost 4 years back. So this is, as you can see here, this is a unit, a very compact unit. And whatever biogas produced is stored in a high quality balloon here. So this is a farmer house, and we helped him to recover biogas from the farm waste. You can see the excellent blue flame of biogas coming inside his kitchen. And this man was using this biogas for the last many years, actually. In fact, recently we could not visit him. Otherwise, he would have been involved in this meeting. I'm sorry for that one. So anyway, this system was generating biogas from his farm waste. And he's having one or two cows and whatever waste, organic waste from those farms. We were helping him to recover into biogas. So this is one story to start with. So this is another one. Yeah, this is another one. This is one system that we have installed in a lower primary government school in the city, and where all the whatever you may be knowing, kids are provided with the midday meals, and whatever leftover food waste, we were trying to recover energy out of that one, because the school has a problem of how to dispose the balanced food waste. And we've extended our help again under the CSR 800 project. And you can see the kids here. Another interesting thing here is you can see here is a schematic representation. I'll show you here. So this is the same what I have expanded here. So I have expanded here where how the energy is produced from waste we have schematically shown for making the kids understand. Okay. So our idea was to inculcate the concept of bioenergy from waste to the kids, because kids can easily convey this message to family members, and they can also adopt the same system. This was also a very well-working system for the last many years. So this is in a school in Trivandrum, at a rural area in Trivandrum. So this is yet another installation. This system we have installed in an upper primary school. You can see here also schematically we have shown how energy can be recovered from waste material in a very pictorial schematic way. So this is the installation at the Marthoma Charity and Hospital Garden System, which Dr. Magesh was just mentioned. And the representative from this charity unit is attended. He's also there in this meeting. He will tell more about this. You can see how the flame is coming. See, the system is very compact. This is not like the normal biogas plant that we normally see. So this is a small system. This tank is around 2,000 liter volume. And this is handling around 50 to 60 kgs. This can handle up to 50 to 60 kg food waste. And whatever biogas produced, we are storing here. That was directly sent back to the kitchen for cooking. So Michael will tell more about their usage and us. In fact, this system is installed in 2017, almost 5 years. This is working without any problem. That's it, the Marthoma Center. And I have some rough calculation. So I have taken a very minimum value of roughly 6,000 liter biogas per day, which is equal to around 2.7 kg of LPG per day. On a monthly basis, approximately 80 kg LPG, and on a rupee basis, approximately 8,000 rupee monthly saving from food waste itself.
Okay.
So this is another installation. This is at a government hospital. It's a very neat system we are maintaining here. Again, whatever leftover food waste from the hospital wards, so they were recovering energy, and that biogas they were using in the canteen for cooking food. This is another system that is, again, we have installed in a rural village where farm waste, whatever farm waste was recovered as bioenergy. In fact, this project we did with partial financial support from ICAR. So they wanted to put up some experimental units. This is one such unit we have installed. This is another unit, another two different units. These are all 50 kg treating, very compact system. You can see how much biogas is recovered from this very small unit. You can see the name of Acute Technologies. So the company, Mr. Dibin is there in this meeting. So they were mainly helping us in putting up these plans. And whenever there is any trouble problem, I mean, any issues, they used to assist it and manage it actually properly. So to sum up these things, NIST compact biogas plants recovered bioenergy more efficiently from petroleum organic waste, providing energy security and economic benefit to the end user. At the same time, it ensured better sanitation conditions and crop productivity. So that's all from my side.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Krishna Kumar, for giving this nice overview. I hope I'm loud and clear. Am I audible, Dr. Krishna Kumar?
Yeah, definitely. Can I share my slide now?
Yes, please do. Yes.
Yeah.
I just got a message, bad network quality on my screen. So yeah, okay. So in fact, those were very nice visuals. So the first one that you showed, we had this gleaming biogas plant outside a rather modest dwelling, as we could see. So so this biogas unit takes care of the entire energy, fuel requirement of this household, is it, or is it a add-on or a kind of supplement the existing? Okay,
it's an add-on. Maybe I can tell partial energy. Demand was meeting the system.
Okay, and also the installations at the school. I think that's very important as well as interesting, because you're also educating the kids about it, and they understand the science behind it, and the importance of converting waste into usable, what we typically call the wealth from waste. So that is something that they also understand. So good to see that it's been installed in. So this also again goes back to the kitchen. So whatever kind of comes out of the kitchen goes back to the kitchen in a different form, isn't it?
Exactly.
You can put it like that. And nice to see the blue flame. Clearly, very, very similar to the LPG or the PNG flame. At least to as per the picture that was seen, very, very similar to that. Okay, so now you also showed one picture of the farm waste. There was one installation that you mentioned about the farm waste. So maybe our listeners would like to know. We have heard of manure being used for producing biogas. We hear about the food waste from you, and also you mentioned about the farm waste. So do we have different technologies, or how different are the biogas technologies for each of these kind of wastes? If we can very.
In fact, the basic design of a system is the same. Whether we are using food waste or farm waste as the feedstock, basic design is the same actually. But if you look at the energy recovery as biogas, as I said, you can recover on an average 200 liter biogas from food waste. But when you feed farm waste, say for example cow dung, so that the biogas recovery will be roughly around 1/3 of what you can recover from food waste, because cow dung is already a digested material inside the stomach of cow. So the biogas recovery from cow dung is comparatively very less, maybe 1/3.
Okay. So we'll move on to Mr. Johnson, who is here. So Mr. Johnson, so how did you come to know about this technology? Is it because of the proximity, you are in the same place. How did you come to know about this technology of NIST?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now
Can
yes.
you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, my name is Johnson M. Jacob. I am from the Marthama Hospital Guidance and Counseling Center. That's first the question you asked, because we used to give accommodation to more than 100 people here. It is a charitable organization, and it is a refuge for many people, many poor people, poor patients and bystanders from various districts from Kerala, even outside Kerala. Those who are seeking specialized treatment at Trivandrum Medical College, Regional Cancer Center, RCC, Sri Chitra Medical College, this one. So we are very close to these hospitals. We have established this in 1982. That means we are now in the Ruby Jubilee year. This institution basically giving free food and accommodation to the poor patients and inmates. Normally, we used to give more than 100 people there. This biogas plant became known. Basically, this I think their first installation was on a experimental base, because a lot of waste, food waste are there. So we have to, normally people are coming and collecting, but some days they will collect, some days they will not collect. So it will be a big problem for us. That stage, when we were inquiring about the various types, then came across our mind this particular one. So we installed it in 2017. So if you are talking about this biogas plant, before the COVID period, we used to run our center in Tulsi, more than 100 people used to accommodate. So that time, a lot of waste used to be there. So the things were running, we almost around 50 kg of food waste there. So we used to feed it, and we used to get enough gas for cooking our breakfast. Tea or sambar, whatever it is there, cooking. This, as you showed, it is a good flame, blue flame, and it is quite a good pressure and everything. There is absolutely no complaint on that part. It was very well. So, but during the COVID period, we have to close down this one for almost 10 months because all lockdown and everything. Then we couldn't start again full swing. Full swing means we have to follow COVID protocol. So we used to give all these dormitories, everything we couldn't use. So we cannot use it now because all this problem protocol and everything. So at present it is running. Maybe after COVID we opened it in January 2021. So we used to give accommodation to 25 to 70 inmates only, depending on the conditions that time. So at present, today it is around 50 inmates. So what happened after during COVID period, it is almost closed down. We couldn't open this anything. So after the COVID period, we faced some little problems, maybe because of the lockdown and everything. But it is rectified. Some maintenance work and everything there, and we are not running it full capacity now. As I told, it is only 30, 40, 50 people only there. Earlier it was more than 100. So even now, after this, all this last, I think 2-3 months, 2-3 weeks back only, it again all this maintenance work was done. It is running now gradually coming up. I think we are getting some gas now, but it is informed that it will take a few weeks to come back to the normal stage. So we have to start with a small amount. So now it is going well. Hopefully by another 2-3 weeks, it will come to full capacity.
Yeah, thank you,
So,
Mr. Jacob, for giving a nice overview of about how you're using it, and also the charitable work that you are involved in, a very noble cause. Now, so if I, like I was trying to find out how you came to know about the technology. So I probably you were looking for how to manage the food waste, and you came to know about the availability of this technology. Is that how you came to know about this, or was it through the media?
We checked with so many our friends, those who are involved in these areas and hospitals. Always we talk to the hospitals and all the things, all such organizations. And finally we came, I think that time it was another secretary was there. He came to know that about this one. So on an experimental basis, they first installed here.
Started. Okay. So you also, you've been using this from since 2017. You have been using this now close to 5 years. That is a testimony that the technology is, robust, and except for the problem that you have had during COVID. So, but we would also like to know what is the kind of, if I can call it, the kind of expenditure that goes into the maintenance of this installation. And what the difficulties or challenges, if any, that you face, and how these are addressed. Are you able to handle this at your own end, or do you get help from someone like Mr. Nitin here, or would you have to go back to Dr. Krishna Kumar? Because we had the first session where we were talking about mud stoves, improved mud stoves from one of our labs called CSIR Niri in Nagpur. So there, we were discussing the same thing. How do they maintain and manage? So there we were told that the mud stoves, you can't compare, of course, a mud stove with the biogas plant that you're talking about here. But then there they have also trained artisans who can make that, or even something goes wrong, they are able to repair it. Of course, that there is simplicity there. But so with regard to the biogas plant, what is your feedback on the maintenance and the support of these plants?
Okay. For maintenance, we used to give this Ekekua, who install this one. We used to give annual maintenance AMC with them. So every month they will come and check, and everything is going well. I think before COVID it was 100% perfect on everything going well. They will come and check, rectify everything. Even now also we have that contract. They used to come and check and rectify any problems. They will come, they rectify as early as possible. So that way we are not faced much problem.
Okay. So I'll move on to Mr. Dipin now. So as I mentioned early on, Mr. Dipin, he is involved in taking this technology to the end users. He has a startup. So Mr. Dipin, what maybe you can start off by sharing your experiences in handling this. This, if I can call it, okay, let me call it technology. Yeah, I was about to say the product, but I think technology would be a more appropriate term. Yes.
Yeah. Good evening to everyone. I joined here as a representative of Acute. It's basically working on the waste management area, like anaerobic digesters and wastewater treatment. That's the main core area of our startups, our company. And we have installed, we got a very good opportunity to install this CSIR technology to various places in Kerala, like in Marthoma Hospital and Guidance Center and Regional Cancer Center, Trivandrum, and also in the Surbank, Trivandrum, and also various household purposes plants in various schools and houses. And also Krishamar sir already mentioned that Cowden treatment plant in Alapura district on farmer's house, and also in another one house in Trivandrum. So we think this is the best opportunity to we got a very good opportunity. And the major, I will tell the major advantages of this system. There is absolutely very less troubleshooting. That is a major advantage of the system. And also we can transport the system in working mode. We can transport the system to anywhere, because that's a very compact system, as sir has said everything in detail. So and also we are getting very high amount of biogas, a sufficient amount of biogas, around 2 to 3 hours people will use this biogas. And also we are very happy to associate this project. We are waiting for more projects from CSIR. Thank you very much.
So yeah, thank you, Mr. Dipin. So you also mentioned that this, of course, in Dr. Krishna Kumar's presentation, it was mostly in an institutional kind of a setting, either a school or a hospital. But you also mentioned about households. Okay, so households also generate some kind of, food waste.
Actually,
so when, yeah, go ahead, yeah. Mr. Dipin.
Dipin, you can continue.
Actually, we also have some household treatment plants that's capacity is 3 to 5 kg only. So the maximum production of biogas 3 to kg. That's the volume of digester is 350 liter. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the household purpose we are using.
So how is the uptake of, because today when you talk about the rural India, or specifically since you are in Kerala, the rural Kerala, we have households using LPG. So do you think that even if households are using LPG, there is a potential for this technology, because as you say, 3 to 5 kg of waste is generated. So this is, can this be used? Okay, the other is the practical difficulty. You have a gas stove which is for LPG, so you will have to have another gas stove which is for the biogas. Is it like that, or how can it work? How can we have more rural households using this?
Yeah, because we have used some very less watts blower to give some pressure. So with good pressure only, we can use the biogas, like equal to LPG. So that is the main advantage of the system.
Okay. So Dr. Krishna Kumar, let me come to you. So on this, what would be your take?
Yeah. In fact, I can add one of your initial questions about how this Marthoma came to know about this technology. Yeah. In fact, to my understand, Mr. Johnson took charge of Marthoma maybe recently. Am I right, Mr. Johnson? You are muted, I think. Johnson.
Yes, 1 year back. Yes, 1 year back.
1 year back only. So in fact, when we installed the unit, that time one Mr.
George
Thomas. What is his name?
George Thomas.
George Thomas. Unfortunately, he is no more. He is no more now. So he was in charge of the charity unit that time. So they had a conventional biogas plant installed in their premise. They were trying to treat the food waste with that system, but that conventional system was repeatedly failed. And many times they have to empty the entire sludge, and disposal was again a problem. They are in a very difficult situation how to manage system. That is how they came to know about this new technology, and they came to us. And we thought of putting, as Johnson rightly mentioned, we thought of putting. So far, we were never until that period. This technology was inside our campus. So we thought of using that as an opportunity to take the technology outside the lab, so that people can see it and more people can use it. So under the CSIR 800 project, as a demonstration system, we installed this unit in their campus, and they were really very happy about this performance. That is how it happened at that time.
In that time, that conventional plant volume is 15 m3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of that, we are
yeah,
a huge tank. 15 m³ for 50 kg.
15,000 liter tank and
It's a
treating
huge
the
tank.
biogas. Yeah, this is hardly 2,000 liter tank. Occupies a very less space. And the question what you asked about the household usage. In fact, this biogas plant has different versions, as Mr. Dibin mentioned. There are very small units that is specifically meant for household units, where 3 to 5 kg, that is a normal food waste that is we can expect from household every day. So that can be treated here. But the main difference is when you go for a small household kind of system, the system, since the cost should be very minimal, so you should need to give a manual mixing. The design is, we have made it more simple in the sense that we can mix it manually with a pedal system and all those things. When it comes to 50 kg or even 500 kg, the entire system is more mechanical. So we have a motor for mixing with a timer and a fully automatic system, but the power consumption is hardly maybe less than a unit per day. It gives mixing automatically 5 times 5 minutes a day with a timer system. And as you have seen in the photograph, that the biogas is coming just like LPG. So for that purpose, what we did is we installed a very small booster pump in the pipeline. So even if your even if your burning point is a few meters distance, there won't be any pressure drop. So this booster pump will suck from the balloon and deliver the biogas to the biogas just like LPG. So many of the biogas plant, when people use, one of the complaint is it takes more time cooking. Yeah, because the biogas, as the pressure drops, the heat will be less. So that was a practical feedback from the field. So to solve that problem, we have installed one booster pump. It's a very small booster pump. So whenever you want to burn, just switch on the booster pump. So just like LPG, you will be getting sufficient biogas. So that is how it works actually. As I said, for the household units, everything is manual. You have to mix manually, maybe 1 or 2 times a day when you feed it actually. But for mechanical system, everything will be automatically, it will happen. You don't need to worry about that actually.
Okay.
And from household system, since the quantity of food waste is very less, you cannot expect more biogas. So maybe as Dibin mentioned, maximum 300 to 400 liter biogas only. That will be sufficient for burning maximum 30 to 45 minutes only.
Okay.
Maybe part of your cooking you can do with that. But as you rightly mentioned, the stove is entirely different. The stove for LPG is different. And I mean, stove means the burner. The burner is different for LPG, and this is different for biogas, because the air biogas ratio is different for LPG and biogas. And there is no other option. You have to have a separate burner, of course, for the biogas system. That's it.
Yeah, so I'll go back to the question of the one I asked about how he came to know about it, because that was very important. Because all this uptake, when you talk about the uptake of these technologies, it is very important for potential end users or potential beneficiaries to know about the availability of the technology. So in many of our earlier programs, and even today, we could see the importance that if I can use the word, the intermediaries or the partners or the collaborators in taking this technology widely. The earlier part of the program, so we had a foundation and an NGO collaborating with the scientists, and then taking this technology on a that is to benefit them on a larger scale. So Mr. Dipin, for this technology you have been the partner, and of course you did mention about a few installations that you have, but then can we know from you the challenges that you face in taking this technology to the potential end users, because now you have an understanding of who all could be using this. So what are the challenges that you face as a partner?
The major challenges is every system we have designed on organic loading rate. Means this much of waste only we have to add. So some people, for getting more biogas, they will add more food. That's a major problem. major challenge. If we are maintaining that problem, for 2000 liter volume, we are telling 50 kg only. No,
So that's
no
an
need to,
operational
don't add
challenge.
100 kg.
That is an operational challenge you're talking about. That's a very important one. Since you raised it, that's a very important one. So people trying to fill it beyond the limit that it needs to be filled, which affects the performance of this, where you need to step in and then sort it out by whatever maintenance that you need to do. So that is one of the operational challenges. Although you had mentioned, even Mr. Johnson had mentioned, you don't need a lot of maintenance. So once in a month you go by and do whatever housekeeping or maintenance that is required of it. But then I was talking about the challenges that you either face or that you foresee in taking this to other potential beneficiaries like the Martama Charitable Trust. So this place, because they were using a biogas plant earlier, knew about it, and then they suddenly found something that is much more better than what they were using. It was compact, it was more efficient, and all that. Now to take it to beneficiary or a potential beneficiary like the charitable trust that is using it, or the hospital that is. So what are the challenges that you face there in taking it to people?
Maybe can I make a comment here?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So what I understand is, as Dibin mentioned, one of so they are a startup company. Okay.
Yeah.
So they have to fabricate this thing based on the design what we give. They have to fabricate this thing from somewhere, maybe some workshop or somewhere. Then only they have to install. One of the challenges what we have seen from their side is getting the thing fabricated as per our design, and getting the thing fabricated in the right time. And some of these projects we have to install in time, and they have some practical difficulty in get the thing properly fabricated at a workshop. So that was one of the major challenges that I have seen that they are facing actually.
Okay. In the fabrication of that.
Yes, exactly. Because being a startup company, they don't have their own workshop, and not only workshop, facilities not there, and not only that qualified people to do the fabrication. So they were depending on other workshops for getting the things done. Actually, there was some delay. Sometimes they faced a delay in getting the thing in the right time.
Okay. So again, I will ask Mr. Dipin. So are you because organizations like DST or even CSIR, or there are many other funding agencies in the country. So what are do you have any expectations from these institutions, the funding organizations, and how they can help you with this?
Actually, we are working, we are associated with the CSIR and ISTI like through some consultancy projects. So these projects are, every projects we have done through like consultancy projects. We are also just part of this project. So that's it.
Okay, let me put it this way. See, for example, you were talking about, or Dr. Krishnakumar was, mentioning about the difficulties that you face with fabricating, the unit. So how can this be, the difficulty there be, taken care of, or how can that be solved? Do you have anything in mind on that about it?
Just
is it a lack of trained people that is a difficulty, or is it the lack of resource? What is the difficulty there?
The major thing is the lack of the trained peoples, because we have to train everything. So that's the major problem we have faced.
Okay. So I'll again go back to Mr. Jacob. So Mr. Jacob, so you have been using this for many years now. So during the course of using it, of course, as I understand, as was told, you have been associated with this for about a year only. So maybe you can add, and then thereafter even Mr. Dipin and Dr. Krishnomar can add. So as an end user, what have been the inputs that you could, because you are a user in an actual setting, you are using it, and the inputs that you could give back to NIST where they could improve, because many times they do it at their end, they fabricate or design it, do the research at the lab level. But many times when it goes to the actual setting and when it is in a functional mode, you can spot certain things. So this is the improvisation that can be done, or this is a shortcoming. If this is there, some kind of a wish list that you can put. So have you been able to provide any inputs to NIST? And if you could, maybe you can highlight a couple of them. We can start with Mr. Jacob and then Mr. Nitin, and then we can go to Dr. Krishnomar.
Okay, we have whenever we have problems, such things we used to inform them at Acute, and they used to do that. Recently, 2-3 things are there. One regarding that feeding stand. To feed the input to this one, we need a stand, a proper stand there. So they have installed it, fabricated and installed this. Then they themselves also improved, because now presently they have installed another tank to get that output from there. It is going to the drain. In the initial stage, 5 years back, it was not there. So such things they are doing it now. Whatever improvements are there, they're doing it now. Whatever from our side, they incorporate it very well. So whenever some issues are there for the operation, considering operation point of view, they used to that. Like that, it is they are doing.
Okay, Mr. Dipin.
Yes, actually, during this working time, every month or at least every month, we have to do some analysis of the digestate and also the liquor inside the digester, like pH, volatile fatty acids, if any inhibitors are there, and also methane content, how much is the methane content. So that facility, we are that CSIR NIST facility only we are using. So they are giving the opportunity to do the analysis and those things. So that is a mandatory part of during the working mode time. This is a mandatory procedure of doing this kind of analysis. So that's it.
Yeah, Dr. Krishnomar. You can also maybe elaborate about this analysis that Mr. Dipin was talking about.
Definitely. That's a very valid question, what Dr. Mahesh has put forth. In fact, as you rightly mentioned, whenever we put something from the lab to land, that's an experimental stage. And based on the performance, definitely you need to go for some design improvements, definitely. And one of the problems that we identified after putting the plant in the field is any biogas plant, particularly when you feed highly putrescible materials like the food waste, a lot of organic acid formation is there. So that can corrode your body of your biogas plant. Okay. So the biogas plant body you can fabricate either in MS or in stainless steel. The stainless steel, absolutely no problem. But of course, when you go for a stainless steel, the installation cost will be slightly on high side because of the cost of stainless steel. But when you go for MS, this is a problem. Because of the excess acid production, there is every possibility of inside the wall getting corroded. We anticipated this, and to avoid that one, what we did is, particularly for Marthoma, what we did is we coated inside with FRP. Okay, just to avoid the corrosion.
You can maybe also elaborate what FRP is, what is MS, because we have
FRP. What I was trying to tell is that the body of the digester tank, as you have seen in the photographs, it's elongated cylindrical shape of thing, and which is fabricated in mild steel. So the cost is comparatively less when you compare with the stainless steel. So when you do the fabrication in mild steel, in order to avoid corrosion, inside the tank you will be coating with FRP. FRP is reinforced fiber. It's kind of thing. It's something like a fiber. in a simple language I can tell. So that will protect the metal part getting corroded. Even though we did the coating, what we found is that some of the exposed regions, like the feeding pot where you're putting food waste into the tank, that region, after some time, we found some corrosion initially. So what we did is we did additional coating in that area. So because once corrosion is started at one point, it can spread your entire system. So that is one thing what we observed is corrosion thing, and we solved that problem by providing additional coating at the feeding pot. That was one thing. Another thing is one practical problem, but Dibin was rightly mentioned. So you designed a system for treating 50 kg. So 50 kg food waste average you are expecting. But sometimes some people, there is an operational, as Dr. Magesh rightly mentioned, it's an operational fault from their side. They continuously used to feed 60 kg, 70 kg like that. So that's a condition what we call overloading. So overloading is something similar to indigestion for human being. When you take more food, indigestion happens, you have gas problems, acidity problem, all those things. The same thing can happen to your biogas plant also. So suppose a biogas plant is failed, it's a very difficult thing to recover it. So sometimes you have to remove entire slurry, and it will be very bad smelling, and how to dispose of that thing. That's a very practical difficulty. You have to transport it and you have to dispose it to sewage treatment plant or fecal sludge treatment plant. So that additional cost, all those things you have to bear. So to solve that thing, so what we do is in the discharge slurry, we store a part of the discharge slurry. Earlier, either you can use it as manure after some dilution, or if people don't require, those people who don't require to use it as manure, they can simply dispose it in the sewerage system. Simply it will go. But instead of that, what you can do is a part of the slurry you can store. Why? Because if you have a failed system, the stored slurry, you can use it for conditioning the system. So that is one thing what we learn over the period. So even if your biogas system is getting failed, using the stored slurry, you can manage to some extent. The problem can be neutralized to a great extent. Even when we are operating one of the big plants that we installed at the Trivandrum airport, it's a system that is handling 500 kg every day, food waste from the entire airport. So there also the same problem happened actually. So there is an underground storage tank. It's of big capacity, 15 meter cube capacity. We were storing slurry in that system. And once there was a failure, we were conditioning the system using the stored slurry. So these are some of the lessons that we learned over the period of time. And now we are practically applying these things to solve any problems in future.
And he also mentioned, Mr. Dipin also mentioned about the analysis part of it. Where he said that he's partnering with you to do certain analysis.
Yes. Yeah.
So can you just briefly elaborate on that?
In fact, one of the. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So one of the problem with the biogas is online monitorings are very difficult for any biogas plant system, because if your system is failed, you came to know at a later stage, by that time your system would be entirely failed. And so the analysis, what we do is we take samples from the system, we brought to the laboratory. The basic analysis like volatile fatty acid, alkalinity. These are the two things at least once in a week. Once in a week is not necessary. In fact, maybe once in a month you have to do that one. So if you have a proper ratio of volatile fatty acids to alkalinity, you can assure that your system is working perfectly without any problem. That is one important analysis where we normally do it actually. And another thing is the gas compositions. Normally you can expect on an average 60% methane from the biogas. Sometimes people come with the complaint that the biogas is not burning. So when you check the biogas, the problem is that your methane level will be less than 40%. It will be more carbon dioxide. So only after doing GC analysis of your gas composition, you know what is the reason behind that one. And if carbon dioxide is more, you have to make adjustment in the sense that you have to buffer the system so that you can make it with more methane in your biogas. So these are the common kind of analysis that we do when we operate these kind of systems.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Krishna Kumar. So we are in fact moving, moving towards the closing time. But just intrigued early on when you began, you spoke about the unit. You have the digester unit and also you have the balloon that collects the biogas. So, and you have these systems installed in a couple of schools. So, are the kids intrigued by the blowing up of the balloon, and does it happen exactly that way? When it is filled with gas, it inflates, and when as the gas is piped to the stove and gets consumed, does this gas deflate? So just because we don't have a video or a actual visual of that, how does it work? And also a follow-up question is that why is it a balloon? Is it to indicate that the gas it's filled with gas, or can't it be a container that can be used in place of a balloon that you're talking about?
It's not like that. We were going for balloon is a very commonly used in many biogas plants. People are using these kind of balloons. This is high quality polymer based balloons, and it's absolutely safe using these kind of balloons. There is no safety issues are there actually. Not only that, as you can see in the photographs of the system that we install in the school, the balloons are put at a certain height, so kids cannot reach to that thing actually. And definitely they're really fascinated seeing these things. Producing biogas from the waste that they produce, and using that biogas again for cooking food, and the slurry which is coming out is used for gardening or growing vegetable plants. All those things were very interesting for those kids actually.
Okay, so yeah, so this was a very interesting discussion that we have had on the compact biogas plant that uses food waste. So we had a very interesting day today. In the afternoon, we began with again, it was also to do with kitchen and low smoke mud stoves. And then here again, we are talking about the same thing. So where the technologies have made an impact at the rural level, but as we all understand, with all these technologies, we need a much wider uptake, and this is where the DST is also they have the program. The division of DST is exactly doing this, looking at interfacing. I'm sorry about the noise in the background. Suddenly started. I don't know if it's I'm audible or not. Anyway, so yeah, so the whole idea is to look at how these technologies can be taken to the rural and, of course, the and many of these have been successfully done, and I'm sure that this is also a technology that has got a lot of potential. If not at individual household level, but at least at the community level or at the institutional level, as you said, and the kind of food-based statistics that we have, the kind of food waste that is generated. So to manage the food waste in an environmental friendly manner. So all these technologies, energy technologies that we spoke about, also looks at environment, health, and of course the use of energy in a sustainable manner. So I would like to thank Mr. Johnson Jacob, who joined us, and thank you so very much for joining us and giving us an insight of how you have been using this in your institution. And also Mr. Bipin Nath, thank you for joining us, partnering with NIST, for being associated with CSIR. In taking this technology to the community, to the potential users. And of course, thank you so much, Dr. Krishna Kumar, for being with us here today, sharing with us.
Thank you so much
about the technology. And we're sure that as we go forward, there will be find more and more use of the technology. So on that note, I would take this opportunity to thank my co-host here, Dr. Anuradha from the Seed Division in the Department of Science and Technology, has been involved with this program, and also Dr. Devapriya Datta, the head of the seed divisions of scientistry at the Department of Science and Technology, whose brainchild this program is. So he's been involved in this area for a very, very long time. And it was his idea to take this, so and also motivating us week after week to connect with the technology developers, the beneficiaries, and the partners, and showcase these technologies. And of course, as you know, it's not just about having this discussion, but also we are systematically documenting all this. And at the end of the 75 hours, we hope to bring out a volume of all these technologies. So on that note, I would once again thank all of you for joining us. Dr. Anuradha, do you have anything to add?
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. G. Mahesh. And so the next program is on 4th of March, and this will be few technologies from NIF, National Innovation Foundation.
Yeah.
So I, on the behalf of Ministry of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, I request you to join us again on 4th of March. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.